Welcome to Fat Man on Batman. I'm Kevin Smith.
I am Marc Bernardin.
Hey! Holy fuck, man. We are here again, as always, at the Scum Villainy Cantina right on Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood, California. Put your hands together so the folks at home know you're real. So much to talk about, so much to do. I brought this box that has Wakanda lettering all over it. Yeah, so we can open that up and see what's in there. But way I heard it this week, something happened to you. Something familiar to me.
It feels like every episode we're like, so what about your heart? Yeah, I was in the emergency room last Wednesday because my chest wasn't feeling right.
Tell them I said hi?
I was like, hey, Kev Smith sent me over. Said you hooked me up good.
They're like, that dude, man, he did not want to show his dick. So what'd they say?
They said that I had this comic book signing last Wednesday, and I was driving home and didn't feel right. And if there's anything that I've learned from standing next to you for the last 4 years, it's dick jokes are cool. If the other thing that I learned was listen to your body.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this doesn't feel quite right, so I am going to veer away from home and straight to the ER.
And to be fair, also your wife had gone through something, right?
My wife had like an angiogram because she was feeling some chest shit, and you had some, I don't remember what that was. Heart attack?
Yeah.
Right?
And I also had angioplasty. But she had the angioplasty without a heart attack.
Right.
She was like smart, got in there ahead of time.
Yeah.
Me, it was like, I'm going to live for... Fuck, what's that? You know.
And the whole time that I'm going to the ER, I've got like the Kev Smith checklist in my head. I'm like, all right, am I sweating profusely? No. Am I nauseous? No. Thudding pain in my chest? No. All right, maybe this is something else, but I still don't know what the fuck is going on.
Okay.
Ultimately, they said that I have hypertension.
That's right.
Which is not a superhero, which is actually just a fucking thing that happens to you when you get old.
Truly. Hypertension is not the fucking evil cousin of Optimus Prime. This is a real killer. It usually precedes some heart stuff. That's when they usually tell you to slow down, throw you on some beta blockers or something.
Right. So I'm on 3 or 4 pills I'm not taking a day because that's the life that you lead when you're in your late 40s.
Isn't that fucked up? Like to become a pill person all of a sudden? Like I'd never been a pill person. It's something I was kind of like proud of and shit. Like my mother was always taking a fistful of meds to stay alive, and like some of them counteract the others, the side effects of the others and shit. And I was like, man, that ain't gonna be me. 6 months later, I'm like, I'll take my 7 pills a day, please. And it's the same thing. I feel like underdog. The only way I could live and fucking do adventures is to pop a pill from my ring.
Do you have like the day of the week little thing there?
I do. Like a fucking senior citizen from Florida. I have a Monday through fucking Sunday set of pill cases that like break up the day in case I don't remember when to take them and shit like that. My wife's been playing like the pharmacist every morning. She wakes up, she's like, you take your pills? And I was like, oh my God, this sounds like my childhood. My mom was always saying the same shit to my dad. You take your pills and shit? So yeah, I'm a pill guy now.
And none of those get to be like Flintstones chewables?
One of them is a chewable aspirin that's essentially like St. Joseph's aspirin. That's weird. After the heart attack, they're like, you'll be on aspirin for the rest of your life. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah, it just fucking helps and stuff. You should have been taking this for years. So I'm going to start telling my kid, take aspirin.
Do it.
Yeah, like, why not? It's cheap high.
Yeah.
So ultimately, all's what?
Ultimately, all is fine, but, blood pressure medication because there had been some stress.
Did you have them look at any potential blockage and stuff?
Not yet. I've got to do a stress echocardiogram, which, again, this is like old people shit. So if you're like 20-something, don't worry. It's coming for you.
Yeah.
It's on the way. You just wait.
No, I didn't think it'd come for me. You didn't think it'd come for you.
Nope.
It fucking comes. And it comes like a fucking freight train, and you're really not expecting. For some reason, I was like, all right, 60, I'm sure shit will start falling apart.
Yeah, nope.
And the body's like, after the way you've treated us, fuck you, we quit. And so... trying to get the gang back together, man.
I know. I think my body was just jealous of all the attention you were getting. It's like, fuck you, man. Get some spotlight.
It's true, man. That's how you get some sweet attention and shit.
Totally.
People are so nice. I was talking to a friend of mine, Vincent Pereira, and he like fucking scours the internet. He's like, usually when celebrities get sick or fucking die, like there's still a contingency of people who are like, fuck them to death. But he was like, I've been reading the internet and actually looking for the negative shit. And he's like, I don't see it, man. He's like, people genuinely like you. And I was like, that's a reason to fucking stick around and shit.
You know, if you
of course, then you fucking blow it. What they say in fucking Dark Knight? Like, you know, you either become the hero or live long enough to become the villain and shit. Should have fucking stayed on the table and shit.
Yep.
That way, everyone's like, what a good guy he was. And fucking, you know, I make Jay and Silent Reboot, and they're like, we wish he'd fucking died. I know it's coming. That's
Death is too good for you.
It's an easy criticism to write. Okay, well, let's see. What else? Oh, shit. This is, here. I don't know if this is, it's got to be. We got at the office an envelope. Inside the envelope was a Wu-Tang shirt, but Wakanda.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with that?
I have one of those.
Absolutely. Where'd you get it?
Some nameless place on the internet.
Right? Like an Etsy or something like that. Okay. Got one of those shirts, opened up the card, and it was just like, glad you're feeling better, blunt man. We need you in the world. Love, your pal, Method Man.
What?
Now, you know, part of me is just like, well, anybody could fucking send a note that says Method Man and stuff. But he was on Comic Book Men. So, and, you know, and somebody told me, like, he loves the stuff. He loves Jay and Silent Bob and stuff. So maybe it was. But if it is, how fucking cool to get a Wu-Tang knockoff shirt from Method Man. That's kind of genius.
Unless he was like, I'm going to get some of this money, and I'm going to make some now.
Yeah, maybe he's selling them on Etsy.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. That was really sweet.
You know, he couldn't have sent me one.
You didn't. Well,
I don't know.
Now
Math.
you put your heart attack out there.
Right.
You didn't have a heart attack though. You had an incident.
I know. It wasn't even like a cardiac event. It was just a bad night.
Yeah. Some people would just say you're jumpy. That's it. Diagnose it thusly.
Yeah, he's a skittery cat. Watch him.
Okay. Let me see. Before we do anything else. Oh shit, we get to do 40X tickets again.
Whee!
Before we do anything else, this box arrived when. Let's put it like this.
All right.
When Black Panther opened, maybe the week Black Panther opened or before it opened, and it was buried under a bunch of shit. I've been cleaning out my office all day, finding amazing things. I found my coat from Dogma, and I was like, don't put it on, don't put it on. Because there's no way on earth that like it was gonna fucking fit, because Dogma was 1998, and now I pretty much weigh that. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try to put it on. Fucking fit. Clothes.
Sweet.
And so I was like, oh my God, I must be close to my Dogma weight. And I'm 5 pounds from my Dogma weight. I've lost 11 pounds since I started this diet and shit. So I'm gonna see how low I could go. But I'm at the Dogma coat level right now.
How's veganism treating you?
Fucking blows, man. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I can't get excited about it. Be honest, but the program I'm on right now, though, I'm not even in the world of vegan choices. I got one thing that I'm eating over and over and over again and stuff for like 2 weeks, and then when that ends, then they reintroduce food. I eat like a fucking idiot, so they're like, we got to retrain you how to even eat and shit. So that's what they've been doing on this program. Because I was like, I don't like vegetables, and Ray, the guy that runs it, is like, he's going, that's just some fucking story you tell yourself so you don't have to eat vegetables. Grow up, you know. And so they're kind of harsh with it. And so thus so far, though, so good. I've been on it for like 5. This is day 5 of all potatoes. Fuck, it's boring. It's not bad. I remember when I first heard it, I was like, potatoes? I fucking love potatoes. Turns out I really don't love potatoes. I love the shit you put on a potato. You know what I love? Salt. And a potato is just a fucking conductor system to get salt into your mouth without just grabbing the shaker and going like that and stuff. Mixes it up, dilutes it with the potato. I like the butter on top. I love the milk that goes into mashed potatoes. I love everything about mashed potatoes except probably the root of it all, man. Because now you eat baked potatoes. You can have any potato you want. Fucking sweet potato, russets, golden, whatever the fuck. I'm just a russet guy, so I got 2 bags of russets. I was like, I could do this. And I know I could do it, but oh my God, it retrains you to see how you perceive food and how the world throws food at you and shit. And now everywhere I go, it's like, oh my God, this whole, you know, like in fucking They Live, where it's like obey and shit like that. Every song is, every sign, every fucking building, every billboard is just eat. And then you realize, like, yeah, that's the easiest fucking thing to sell to anybody. It's the great uniter. Like, none of us are like, fuck eating, you know? Like, you could be a Republican, Democrat, but come together on, like, we gotta eat. So, like, eating is really, it's just fucking everywhere. But I got to retrain my eating habits because they're fucking bizarre and out of control. So lately, you know, it's been all potatoes, nothing on them, just straight up plain potatoes and stuff. So
that's like Percocets?
No, I know, like the Martian. He got to sweeten his shit up with drugs. But it trains you too to be like, and the diet's like, you can eat as many potatoes as you want. Go fucking nuts. You could literally eat 10 pounds of potatoes, but you won't. You know? And they said that to me, and I was like, I might. And now day 5, I really will not. Like, you know, in the morning, it's like, it's not like I'm choking it down, but I'm like, oh man, I don't even want to eat this. Like, you lose your appetite. Mm-hmm. So it breaks you and retrains you to accept other things later on. Also shows me how deep I can go into the day without eating, because that whole like breakfast is the most important meal, that's just bullshit propaganda. So we weren't made that way. Like when we were fucking rooting around for shit and hunting for game and fucking still not have language skills and shit, nobody was like, when's breakfast? You know, like that's some shit that came with the new world. When once we had, like in the diet, they talk about there's 3 things that, you know, was the biggest threats to humanity: cold, darkness, and starvation. And they're like, as a species, we've literally conquered all 3. Like, you can, if you want fucking light, you can turn on a light in the middle of the darkness. If you want heat, that's easy to fucking put together now as well. And food is everywhere, so much so that, like, even the poor folks in this country are heavy. I was fucking lower, or I always say lower lower middle class. I was fucking government cheese eating poor when I was a kid, but I was fat because I was like, government cheese, you know, so it's there. His theory, Ray, who's come up with the diet, is like when you, the human body is built to like put shit aside. The fat is meant to be stored, you know, for winter. We used to go through climates and shit like that. But now we just store up for a winter that's never coming. Winter's not coming, you know, so, and it just lives on our body. So in the 5 days I've been eating fucking potatoes, which is so boring. But again, it takes all the, I realized like I ate for more entertainment. Like now that like eating is boiled down to a baked potato and shit, suddenly like there's no like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do today, because everything used to center around, first I'll go out and get some food, then I'll do 2 things, then get some more fucking food, then come home, watch a movie while I eat fucking food, and then dessert, you know. So now it's all about like, oh, I don't really want that. Like, you know, like you start to figure shit out. I don't like potatoes, I just like fucking salt. And you know, you could cheat, but I don't cheat. Like, if you cheat, what's the fucking point? And honestly, in fucking 5 days, I've lost 12 pounds. So it's like, I shouldn't really cheat. So far, it's fucking working.
Couldn't you tell that same story with pizza?
No, because the sugar and salt content. Basically, human beings crave 3 things that are bad for us: salt, sugar, and fats. And pizza contains all that shit.
Right.
Cheese, sugar in the sauce, and salt. And
but
so it wouldn't, like, the reason I'm dropping weight is because if you eat plain potatoes with nothing on them, my sodium content has dropped to like nothing. I'm not putting salt in my body, so I'm pissing like a racehorse, and that's where most of the weight comes from. So if it was pizza, I'd just be storing it. Like, I'd go back to storing it where I've stored shit.
Right, but the psychological story would still be the same, in that if you ate nothing but pizza every day, all day, for like 3 weeks, wouldn't you at some point get tired of pizza?
That's like saying if you ate pussy every day for the rest of your life, wouldn't you get tired of pussy? Some shit you never get tired of, man. And pizza is just it's an insane savory combination of the 3 things that human beings crave. That's why it's so comforting. It's comfort food and stuff.
I mean, I don't mean to like just dangle fucking pizza in front of you. I'm just...
No, you can't. I'm fine. Like, believe me, you couldn't like suddenly, like, I couldn't be triggered if you were like Lucky Charms. I'm like, ah, you know. I'm kind of dialed in. I read Penn Jillette's book. This is where I got all this from. Presto, it's called. He lost like 100 fucking pounds. He looked great, and I always thought he had like a gastric bypass, but no, he just ate the way this guy told him to eat. And so, you know, Adam Rifkin, the director, hooked me and Penn up. I'd interviewed him at the house before, and I've seen him a zillion times. But we weren't like close enough for me to be like, hey man, how'd you do that? So when I hit him up, he was like, hey, I'll read my book, and if you like it, I'll hook you up with a guy. So I like the way he handled the program. My personality and his personality kind of similar. And submission, the idea of like, somebody's like, you got one thing, you're only doing that. For people that generally their whole lives do whatever they want, is appealing. It's why I got married, to have somebody to be like, no, So it's nice to have this guy running the diet be the same thing. He's just like, no. And you're like, all right, well, for how long? He's like, 2 weeks of no. And you're like, all right, well, I can get my head around 2 weeks. It was 47 years of yes, so 2 weeks of no should be a fine thing to do. So it reworks your psychology as well, I hope. And honestly, like, now I literally start thinking about, like, I'm on a desert island where I'm just like, what would I have when I got back to civilization? And I've boiled it down to the ultimate superfood for me, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's it. If I wish this diet was like just peanut butter and jelly, I was like, I got this shit psyched fucking down, man. But unfortunately, it's not. But good news is peanut butter and jelly is vegan. So to go back to your question, being a vegan sucks, but there's peanut butter and jelly, so I can't fucking complain. No more animal products, though, which is fine. I'm still not sitting there going, I want to eat a fucking cow's nuts. Like, I feel like I've had my full of that and stuff. And in fact, I was feeding the dogs chicken today, and I wasn't just like, oh God, my fucking ex-love. I realized I don't really like chicken as much as I like barbecue sauce. If you took that away, like if the chicken away and still gave me barbecue sauce, which literally you can eat as a vegetarian, that's what I was looking for the most, but that's me looking for sugar. Suddenly you start breaking all this shit down. My whole life, or not my whole life, yeah, most of my whole life, but definitely from like Clerks on, once I was my own boss and shit, moved out of my parents' house, I was like, I'm gonna fucking eat whatever I want, man. And I never really bothered to stop to think, well, what does your body need? It's always like, what do you want? And I'm like, I want fucking Lucky Charms and pizza and then fucking a sub and shit like that. And then we'll move on to the main course. Basically, it's now a matter of, before you go for that thing, like, do you need it, or do you just want it? And if you just want it, why do you want it? Do you want it because you have fucking excellent memories of it? Like Penn in his book gives great examples where he's like, my mom used to make this blueberry pie with hand-picked fucking blueberries. And you could tell from his writing he dug his mom, and he dug his mom's fucking cooking. So he's like, but every time I eat a blueberry pie, I do not have that same experience that I had eating my mom's blueberry pie. So many factors are fucking missing, but I still chase the dragon. He said, I had pizza with Lou Reed once, one of the greatest moments of my life. And every time I eat pizza after that, I compare it to that moment. But it'll never be that fucking great, because it wasn't the pizza. I was sitting there with fucking Lou Reed and stuff. So every piece of pizza I try to eat, man, it's not going to bring me back to that fucking moment. So, it starts breaking the way you think about food. It's kind of interesting. But it doesn't make me one of those cats that's like, now you got to do it too. Now I just talk to all my friends going like, tell me about food. And my friend Malcolm was here for this whole week, and at first I almost had him going on the diet with me, but he was going through some shit with his movie, so he's like, I need to be crisp. I need to be able to eat whatever I want, or I'll turn into a bitch, which was a commentary on what I had become. Like by day 4 of the potatoes, I was like, everything sucks. So Malcolm, was like, we went to see Black Panther again. He hadn't seen it yet. I was like, oh, it's a perfect opportunity to go see Black Panther again. So, he was like, we got to the concession stand. I was like, big bottle of water. And he's like, well, I can't get anything while Heart Attack guy is here. And I was like, who's Heart Attack? Me? Fuck you. We're like, I said, get whatever you want, honestly. Like, I'm dialed in on a program. Go ahead. And he got a big bucket of popcorn. And being on this potato famine, if you will, like, since there's no... your taste buds aren't being fucking really fired up and your palate's being cleansed, everything smells more intensely. Like suddenly aromas go fucking way deeper. Suddenly I'm smelling things I never smelled before because I didn't smell them because my palate was clogged with sugar, salt, fats. So Malcolm's popcorn, man, was like I could have cummed in my pants inhaling it. It smelled so good. I was like, let me just sniff it. And I was inhaling. I probably got popcorn lung. I was inhaling it so fucking much. But you start appreciating shit like that. But I'm not really a big popcorn guy. Like, I'm okay with it, but it's not my go-to. So I wasn't really tempted, but the fucking smell of it was fantastic. So I like being around my wife, too. She was just like, I can't eat in front of you. I was like, oh, my God. Like, eating in front of me is like porn right now. Like, just to show me what I can't have. It's so wrong, you naughty boy, you know? So anyway, back to the box. So I got this box. And it has Wakanda writing on it. We'll put it down here so it doesn't block the view and stuff. So it's a promotion for, let's see, can you read that upside down? It won't come out.
Unleash your flavor, that's brisk. You want me to read the whole fucking thing? I can't read
Over 50 years ago, the world was introduced to the hero, the legend, the king of Wakanda, the Black Panther. Since then, we've seen gods fly, men build suits of armor, and aliens travel across the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But we have never seen anything like this. A royal African nation, technologically superior and hidden for centuries. Marvel Studios' Black Panther is a piece of art that will echo for centuries. Throughout culture and the history of filmmaking. We are proud to celebrate the creators, both past and present, who have brought this character to life. We salute these creators who, through ink, film, and performance, will inspire the next generation to bring their own creativity to the world. Now, that's brisk. Isn't that Nestea or something like that? That's a lot of fancy language for an iced tea right there. Okay, top layer. Well, here, let's do bottom layer first.
Okay.
Bottom layer. You like it?
Sorry, you guys can't see what's in there yet.
I'm giving you everything in this box because you're the huge fucking Panther fan. But here is what looks like a base or a box. Does it open up?
Kamoyo beads.
Are they?
Yep.
Let me see.
Do not kill anybody. You did the fucking...
Oh, shit. They are the beads. That's badass, man. So what are they? Are they replicas or does this shit work? Hold on to that.
God, I hope they fucking work. I'm stealing all your cars if this works.
Certificate of authenticity usually means that shit don't work. Does it go around your hand? Oh, shit.
Are you done?
All right, I need two hands. You talk while I put this down.
No, okay. Wow, I feel like Mr.
I'm fucking
T.
done. Here we go.
Good job.
This is Black Panther, only in theaters, press to activate by Brisk. What does it do?
Are those Shuri's bracelets? Does that do some awesome shit, or is that a Black Panther head?
It's a can of iced tea. It's a can of iced tea.
That was almost so cool.
It's
just like an iced tea.
I guess you can you remove it or not? Yeah, you can. It's like a beer cozy or something like that, but It's over a can of Diet Brisk that has the Black Panther on it. But what is it? This says press to...
That is Wakandan technology at its finest.
Press to activate.
Unless it makes it cold?
Maybe it just... Oh, could you imagine that? You like cold up your fucking drink. Oh, there's a little speaker on the... Is that a speaker? No, it's just a bass. Wait. Oh, that was the top. I really fucking assigned more reality to it than it needed. There's an Eric Killmonger Diet Brisk.
Because honestly, if there's anything that I think about when I think of like genocidal maniacs, I think of iced tea.
I mean, he was in shape, so he did it without the extra calories. And he's like, see all these marks on my body? That's all the iced tea I drank to get here. Diet Brisk, can of Killmonger. Let's see, we got a can of Shuri as well. Shuri. And is that also diet? Oh, they're all diet. Yeah, I guess everyone was thin in that movie.
Yeah.
A Nakia iced tea. They all got pictures of all the characters from the flick. And, of course, Okoye. Wow, that looks cool. I wonder if they're selling them in stores. Has anybody seen these in stores?
No.
They're beautiful. I would totally like that. Would make me want to buy iced tea, and then I'd be like, I don't like diet iced tea. And I would have fucking.
This is bullshit.
But it's a good-looking fucking can. All right, what is this? We hope you enjoy this limited edition collaboration between Brisk and Marvel Studios' Black Panther, the first of their kind. Materials included would not be responsible without the tremendous contribution of our partners. PepsiCo, I guess they make the iced tea. Marvel, Complex, Olsen, United Entertainment Group, Inkwork, Carl Nauer, CCL, bless you, Proto Labs, Arta Group, Ball, Rock Glove, and LA Rocks. All right, so they gave us iced tea.
Ball is my favorite.
But look at this. Wakanda Forever. The creators of Marvel Studios' Black Panther. From the pages of Marvel Comics to the silver screen, the Black Panther's Wakanda lives on forever through the lenses of dynamic creators. We invite you to explore this limited edition pack celebrating the artistry and imagination behind the film. Every item captures a special piece of inspiration from the works of writers, production designers, costume stylists, and graphic novel artists. In partnership with film creators, we aim to support the next generation of creatives through our mentoring initiative, the Brisk Creators Class. There you go, folks. Here's some free fucking information. You get some money out of these iced tea people. We hope you enjoy this collection and its hidden features. Be sure to see Marvel Studios' Black Panther in theaters February 16th. Yeah, as if they needed help. Yeah. The Brisk Creators Creators Class. You can look it up online, see if that's useful to anybody. Okay, but what they included here was a little Black Panther prelude. So it tells the story right before the movie begins. Looks like a limited edition in this package only comic. And what's that?
This is like a photo still press kit thing.
Oh, so it's just a beautiful book of Wakanda. But this is the jewel in the fucking crown, man. Take that out and tell us what that is.
Donde está? Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Ooh.
It's a Samsung shiny thing.
And it's got writing on the back.
Yeah, what happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world. T'Challa.
That's a pretty self-important iPad right there, man. What do they call it when it's not an iPad? Tablet?
Yeah.
Whose is it? Samsung. It's a Samsung. Oh, shit, it might blow up. It's a Samsung. JC, open the doors. It's a Samsung. How nice, man. So honestly, like, I guess this promotes the movie. Hopefully it promoted a movie that needed no fucking help.
Yeah.
But could you imagine they sent this to, like, fucking the likes of me? Like, you should send this to the cast. This should be a rap gift.
This just goes to show you get way better mail than anybody else. Like Method Man is sending you T-shirts and Samsung is sending you iced tea.
It's true. It was kind of a braggy mail session, wasn't it?
Look what showed up unbidden to my house.
I'm gonna give this to you. You want this? I figured like you would probably, if you didn't use the iPad, didn't your kid love the movie? Yeah.
I have children. Yeah, no, they would dig the fuck out of it.
Better in the hands of one of the fat men on Batman than none at all. So wow,
awesome.
Good job, Brisk, on selling us a movie that needed no selling whatsoever.
$1.1 billion.
Is that where we are with it right now?
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever, indeed.
And ever and ever and ever.
Now, $1.1 billion puts it ahead of... Fuck these. I mean, not for nothing. I'm not, like, sucking their dick, but these cans look amazing. It's crazy, man. It's really nice. All right, back to you.
I think when they open them, when you open the cans, they just say, "Don't drink me, colonizer."
$1.1 billion puts it where in terms of the Marvel hit list? Obviously, Avengers still remains strong at number one.
Avengers and Ultron are still above it.
So this has a chance of catching Ultron?
Yes. There's. I mean, it's a long shot because Ultron, I think it was like 2.2 billion or something like that.
Did that?
Am I right? Anybody want to double check me on my
Somebody who's got the internet, look it up real quick and see.
Because the Samsung Magic Box is not plugged in, so we can't check. But yeah, it is poised to be the number 3 superhero movie of all time, I think, behind.
No, I think it's actually about to surpass Dark Knight, so it'll be the number 2 superhero. It has surpassed Dark Knight. So it's the number 2 superhero movie of all time. And I think the number 2 Marvel release of all time, when all is said and done, it might crawl past Ultron and you know, just stand within, well, who knows? I mean, it's only been, what, how many weeks?
It's been 3 weeks.
I mean,
and it only just opened in China.
And the fact that it was one character, if you look at all the single character Marvel flicks, only Iron Man 3, which was coming off the heat of the Avengers,
right.
And it is a fine movie in and of itself. I love that movie, so I'm not taking anything away from it. But that is the only standalone Marvel character, and he had 2 movies to fuel him and the Avengers to take off to go past $1 billion. Yeah. So doing it one character only who had no warm-up other than, you know, fucking
Civil
Captain
War,
America
right.
Civil War and stuff, which I guess is kind of a prelude. But to do that single-handedly without a fucking team of superheroes behind you?
Yeah.
Now the question is, if that movie is at 1.1 billion now, easily gets to, let's say, 1.7, 1.8, if not fucking 2, what is fucking Infinity Wars gonna make? It's gonna take all the money from the world.
We'll have to sell them countries in order to make whole.
Truly,
like,
man.
Would you like Liechtenstein? Sure, fuck it, we'll take it.
Winter will be coming at that point because none of us will have fucking funds. They're just, Marvel at this point is like a really good-hearted and legal Enron. They just have all the money. They control our lives and shit. They're like, we're shutting down the grid. And you're like, fuck.
The only thing left for them to do is start their own currency. Like Bitcoin.
Like a Bitcoin?
But for Marvel.
Oh, shit. Marvel medallions? Yeah.
Ooh.
Or
Just
what's...
call them Infinity Stones. Infinicoin.
Infinicoin. That's right. There's a whole brand sitting right there.
See? You're welcome, Marvel. Like they need my help.
I was trying to think. What is the... fuck it. I was trying to... What, the Eye of Agamotto. The coins could be all Eye of Agamottos. Call them Aggies. I got fucking 20 Aggies on the race and shit. Okay, so 1.1 billion. Fuck. That's a lot. That's impressive as shit.
Yeah.
I saw it, like I said, a second time this week and absolutely still loved it. It held up like crazy and it's so well fucking made and stuff. When we left there, my friend Malcolm was like, oh my God, because he liked Fruitvale Station and he's not a real big superhero movie guy. But he's like, fuck, that was good. You said he made Creed? I gotta see that. And I was like, you didn't fucking see Creed? I was like, Creed is like Black Panther is wonderful and a magic act in and of itself. But what he did with Creed is nothing short of fucking Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead. That shit was biblical. He made me care about fucking Rocky Balboa again, where I was like, I'm fucking back. And then the next one, Creed 2, is by Stallone. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm out again. But that Creed, you could feel it was made with passion. It was like him and his high school buddy had always wanted to make a movie about, the other guy in Rocky, not fucking Rocky. And fuck, they did a great job. So I was plugging Malcolm all week going, I can't believe you haven't seen fucking Creed, man. I went after him as well, too, because I saw Call Me By Your Name. And Malcolm hasn't, and Malcolm's a very proud out gay man. And I was like, I think that makes me a better gay person than you. And he got seriously testy. He was like, no, it doesn't. You're profiling me. A gay man has to like a gay movie. I was like, yes. Of course.
That's how that works.
Yeah, you at least have to be interested in it. It was kind of a funny argument.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I don't have to like gay movies. I don't know. He goes, I don't really like gay movies. I was like, you make them. You make all your movies are gay-themed documentaries. He was trying to win the argument. He just couldn't do it. It was fun. Anyway, back to the fucking show.
Yeah, I don't know. What are we talking about?
Next piece. I guess we're into the news?
We're into the news. I saw some movies the last couple of days.
Oh.
I saw A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, how was it?
Fine. Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing.
Okay.
I remember reading the books in elementary school. I do not remember much about the books beyond the fact that they were kind of weirdly churchy in ways that I didn't quite there are lots of Christian underpinnings, and so does the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Like
a C.S. Lewis kind of sneak attack of Christianity.
That's part of what Madeleine L'Engle was all about. But I have since forgotten all of that shit. And there's an introduction at the beginning from Ava DuVernay who's telling viewers to keep in mind that this is
in the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, literally, it's like her on screen.
A disclaimer?
Introducing you to the movie, in which she says,
"Oh fuck, I never thought of that shit, man." I'm gonna do that for the rest of the fucking movie because you can open with a joke and shit. Do 5 minutes of material and then be like, now yoga hosers,
It's there for you if you want it, man.
And you'd be setting it up, man. Even if they hate the movie, he was funny at the beginning of the movie and shit. Especially if I went out there and recorded an intro where I'm like, look, a lot of people don't like this. I love this movie, but a lot of people don't like this movie. So if you don't like the movie, it's cool. But let me tell you a story about jerking off, and then go on to Just gild the lily a little bit.
Yeah.
So what did she say? Did she gild the lily?
She basically said, this is a children's movie made for children. This is, it's from my heart, from growing up as a black girl in Compton and not feeling the fantasy was for me, like finding a way to tell a story about just sort of heart and heroism and what it means to see a different kind of hero.
Okay.
And it's a weird sort of, I guess, deflating of what the movie is, because I've seen children's movies that do not require me to be in the mindset of a children's movie. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to tell me, all right, by the way, Incredibles is kind of a kid's movie, but I don't know, maybe you like it, which feels a little bit like what she did with Wrinkle in Time.
Right.
And the first half an hour is a little bit clunky as they introduce your heroine, Meg Murray, and sort of her world and how her father disappeared like 8 years ago, and she's always been at odds. And
this sounds like the Chris Nolan movie.
It's it's a little it's Disney-ish
with a little bit of contact too, like the idea of my dad is lost in space, so it's got that too.
Totally.
Little fucking oh dear.
But once you get to the adventure proper, once you've met your three weird-ass Mrs.'s, Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, and Mindy Kaling.
How were they?
Oprah is God, which we all kind of knew. And she also appears for the first time in the movie, like 8,000 feet tall. So she's just staring. She's like Dr. Manhattan, but like a nice one, who like tells you shit you need to know about yourself.
I'm sure when Oprah Winfrey watched the movie for the first time, she was like, this is the right relationship.
Like, everybody gets a car.
Why is it just all right?
Because the sort of narrative rigor is not what this movie is about. It's not about making sense sort of dramatically and structurally. It is about making like emotional sense. And there's moments in this movie that absolutely soar. There's a couple of sequences that feel like they're out of a Miyazaki movie. There's a couple of sequences that are absolutely about the relationship between a father and a daughter who's been missing each other, and you reconnect with them, and Chris Pine is the fucking rock star of this movie, because who knew Chris Pine was as good?
We all did, from Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but
he was the second most fucking fuckable person in that movie. Like, he fell in love with her, of course, but like he was equally as fucking charming, and like he's always been. Even his Kirk. Like, he did a minor miracle years ago, and nobody talks about it anymore. That motherfucker made you forget William Shatner was Captain Kirk. His Kirk was so fucking strong. And he didn't do an impression.
No.
He did Kirk, which I'm sure William Shatner would be like, no, he did a fucking impression.
Pay me my fucking money.
But he doesn't seem to ever be doing an impression of Shatner, but fuck, he nailed Kirk, man. I think that kid's a good actor. You know who his dad is?
Yeah.
Motherfucker was on Chips once.
He wasn't,
and not even like,
he was
Poncho
the captain.
John. He was the captain guy. That's crazy, man.
But like,
Can you imagine young Chris Pine sitting at home like, my dad's on Chips. One day I'm gonna have sex with Wonder Woman.
On a motorcycle that belonged to my dad from Chips. But like, I've always thought he was good, but it wasn't until Hell or High Water that I was blown away by him as an actor.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
I liked him in the first thing I saw
Smokin' Aces?
Yes, the Joe Carnahan movie. Was it called Smokin' Aces? I confused it with Stroker Ace, the old fucking Burt Reynolds movie.
The best movie.
You like Stroker Ace?
Oh, yeah.
I had this, it's way off topic. Remind me to go back, but me and Malcolm were talking this week, and he was talking about he's leaving tomorrow. But on Saturday, there's a Burt Reynolds event at the Egyptian Theater where Burt Reynolds is going to watch like Smokey and the Bandit and
Cannibal Run?
No, that's what I asked right away. Best Little Whorehouse in Texas and Sharky's Machine. I don't know if he's watching all three, but he's doing commentary after one of them. And Malcolm's like, oh man, that's my fucking dream to see fucking Burt Reynolds. And I was like, you never saw him? Like, he loved him as a kid. He idolized Burt Reynolds. And he goes, no, I never saw him in my fucking life. And then it started a whole day of Burt discussions, and Malcolm's this kind of guy where he's like, where do you believe it all went to hell for Burt Reynolds? And I'm like, I thought you were a fan, motherfucker. I said, I don't think it ever went to hell, because he had like the Boogie Nights resurgence, which had striptease at that point and stuff, but there was a point, I said, where, I don't know, I guess by the time you get to Cannonball Run 2, and he goes, fucking bullshit. Stroker Ace is the beginning of the end. And he went on a 20-minute dissertation about Lonnie Anderson that was like, fuck, you saw a lot more in that movie than I ever did.
I mean, that's why I showed up, was for Lonnie Anderson.
But did you like that? Do you remember what it's about?
Barely. I remember Lonnie Anderson was in it. I was a WKRP fan. And so,
oh, shit.
Yeah.
So you didn't go for Bert, you went for Lonnie.
No. I was a simple boy.
How did we get to... How did we get on Burt Reynolds?
Stroke Ace, Smoking Aces. There it is.
So
we got there, you guys.
We thank you for being my pensive, my Harry Potter pensive. It was... first time I saw him was in Smoking Aces. And I remember Affleck had said, because Affleck was in the movie briefly, right? Mm-hmm. He's in the first few minutes. He said, I worked on this movie with Joe Carnahan, and this fucking kid who's in the scene with me is amazing. And when I saw the movie, it was him. It was Chris Pine.
But like, he's really good in this movie. He's really good in every movie, like you said. But like, where this movie...
He was good on SNL. As an SNL host, he was good. That's a tough gig, and he was pretty funny in it.
Yeah, but like, where this movie soars is when it leans into this sort of heart on its sleeve, straight up like, sort of heroic narrative, even like heroic emotional narrative, in a way that it doesn't include sort of rigorous storytelling.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's super short. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. Some of the visuals are lovely. Again, some of the emotions are great. But like, it's not an amazing movie. It's like a pretty good shot at adapting a movie. Ambitious because this book, you know, it has long been rendered or esteemed as unfilmable.
Right.
And the fact that there is some version of it that feels like it works in any way is a minor miracle. But
the disclaimer, leave a bad taste in your mouth or no?
I don't think so.
No, you're okay with it?
Yeah, because it's very much about, like, I've wanted to make this movie since I was a kid, and I finally got to do it, so enjoy.
I'll tell a quick Dogma story, but unfortunately, it's going to warm the heart, but for a minute, it's going to make everybody go, ugh, because there's a name nobody wants to hear.
Please do. Jerry Lewis?
Yes.
Excellent.
We're putting Dogma out there, and there's a lot of religious protests against the movie and death threats and shit. 300,000 pieces of hate mail. 2 of them were fucking flat-out death threats. We stopped opening our mail for a while. When we showed the movie at Cannes, they installed metal detectors in the Palais because people were worried about people bringing in guns and shit like that. So the chairman of Miramax, maybe I could do it without saying his name.
There you go.
The chairman of Miramax was like, you have to put a disclaimer at the head of this movie. Because I had a card at the beginning of the movie before it began that said, first it was line by line came up, and it said, men go crazy in congregations, they only get better one by one. And it seemed like a very serious quote. And then it gave the author of the quote, Gordon Sumner, and then it put Sting, because it's a fucking Sting lyric and shit. And so the chairman of Miramax was like, fuck the Sting lyrics. He's going, you got to put something at the head of this that says that you were only joking, that this is a comedy. And I was like, are you kidding me? Why is that necessary? Like, doesn't the rubber poop monster tip everybody off to the fact... And everyone was so worried about fucking people getting hurt and shit that I broke down. I was like, okay, I will put a disclaimer up, but can it be funny? And so they said yes, and that's why there's that at the beginning of Dogma, the disclaimer begins like, it says something about the platypus. It's like, this movie isn't meant to blah, 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 and it's God has a sense of humor, look at the platypus. And then when the movie came out, it was the early days of the internet, the early heydays of the internet, and there were 3 platypus enthusiasts who were like, go fuck yourself. So you can't fucking win is my point. Okay,
So,
moving on.
So I saw that. I saw.
You recommend it though?
I do recommend it. I do.
I want to see it. It looks like I loved a movie that Disney did live action. I still support Disney live action because I grew up on it. Mm-hmm. Like fucking Bedknobs and Broomsticks is Disney live action. So they did a movie a couple of years ago that nobody seemed to go for, but I fucking loved, which was Tomorrowland. And all the trailers reminded me of Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland got such a bad rap. I saw that movie on a fucking plane, and I was transported, like by the plane, yes, but the movie also took me to such a fucking crazy, wonderful, emotional place. Such a good flick. So I'm gonna go see.
Yeah,
I'll go see.
It's worth a view for sure. Last night I saw Tomb Raider.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
What was that like? Bless you.
Did you ever play the Tomb Raider games?
Like once, and it was really frustrating for me.
Yeah,
so then,
lots of puzzle solving and.
Well, I never played it on like a computer. I played it on like a Sega Saturn, their version of it, and I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
I like the Bullwinkle game lots more. Seemed more my speed.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing Tomb Raider games since 1996 or whatever the fuck, whenever the first one came out. I don't know. Somebody will check me on that and yell at me on the internet. But I've been playing ever since. I saw the Angelina Jolie movie, which, you know.
How was it?
Meh. It was fine for the time. You know, like I remember when that movie came out and it was, all right, female action hero, and she's absolutely the center of this thing, and there's no romance story really. It's just fucking female Indiana Jones, just with giant guns and other things. But it's super fucking hokey. Like I watched it again over the weekend, and it just doesn't really hold up in any real way. But they released a couple of video games in the last like 2 or 3 years, like the new Lara Croft games, that sort of reposition the character and make her story way more about survival, way more about, you know.
What was the old story?
The old story was just like,
she loves to party.
Yeah, lots of that. But it was very much like I'm, you know, a rich heiress, and I'm all about. I have the Croft mansion, and I'm a fortune hunter, and
oh, that's why they keep putting her dad in these movies.
Yeah, because
he seems to be a big character.
Right, like the dad dies and leaves her all this money and some quest she's got to fulfill and find the Temple of Osiris or whatever the fuck. This one is way more about like it still has the father-daughter story, still has the on a quest for shit, but it's more about her overcoming sort of her own internal blocks against her being awesome and like embracing who she is and where she comes from. And there are a couple of sequences in this movie that feel like pulled right out of Uncharted, feel pulled right out of Indiana Jones. There's this bit
pulled in a good way or a bad way?
In a good way, just like, you know, inspired by,
homaged more than ripped off.
But there's a scene, you see a little bit over the trailer, where she's going over a waterfall and she holds onto this like rusted out B-52 bomber.
That's a dope clip where she's about to go over and
and she jumps, lots of jumping.
Is there a lot of jumping?
There's a lot of fucking jumping in this movie.
They're like, look, what do Lara Croft fans want? Fucking jumping, man. So make sure there's a lot of jumping. Do whatever you want. Put her dad in it, but make a lot of fucking jumping.
But it feels like the sequence from the second Jurassic Park movie.
When they're on the glass?
Yeah, in the fucking like RV that's going over a cliff and like
that sequence still works. A lot of Jurassic Park 2 is problematic, not in a fucking like Me Too way, but just kind of problematic. Yeah. Like, especially following the great Jurassic Park. Mm-hmm. But that sequence is like cinema classic.
Yeah, it still really holds up. And so that sequence sort of spills and it evolves and pays lots of homage to that. It's a totally fun kind of popcorn movie. Like, it's Raiders Light, and I'm here for Raiders Light.
How long is it?
2:15.
I'm out.
I think. Hey, listen, I got potatoes I got to eat. I can't be here all fucking night.
I took a fucking baked potato with me to the Black Panther. You know, I asked right before I left, I was putting on my clothes. I said, Jen, can you heat a potato for me? Because they're all pre-baked and stuff. So she heated it in the microwave, and she's like, you gonna eat it now? I said, no, I'm going to put it in tinfoil and bring it to the movie theater. And she goes, you're so fucking eccentric. And I was like, it's, you know, I've snuck food in before. She's like, yeah, but not produce. Like... But it worked out, man. Fucking, I got to enjoy the shit out of it. You know what else I saw? Good fucking movie. You saw a movie. You said 2, right?
I did. Wrinkle in Time.
You got a third one?
I got a third thing I saw. But
okay, let me do my movie and then you do your third thing.
Okay.
Did you see this fucking trailer for this movie, Thoroughbreds?
No.
Fuck, dude. It's good. I don't know who did it. I didn't memorize the director's name. These 2 actresses in it are fucking astounding. The movie is, it feels like heavenly creatures crossed with Whit Stillman's Metropolitan. It's a weird, it's a weird hybrid. It's set in a world of privilege, but it's about like a sociopath and a psychopath who are both like teenage girls. Really well acted, insanely well written and performed. It almost plays like a play. Very stylized delivery of dialogue. Definitely worth checking out. The theater I saw it in looked like a little crowded, so I think it's doing some business. I think Focus put it out. But I fucking absolutely loved it. It reminded me of the movies I used to watch before I became a filmmaker. Like, it feels like a throwback to an era that excited me about indie film in the first place. So I dug it like crazy, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. What was the third thing that you saw?
I saw the first 3 episodes of Jessica Jones Season 2.
Oh, shit. You started?
Yeah, I started.
How goes the trip so far?
So far, it's a slow burn. which might be a generous way to say a little plotty. I mean, I like it because I like that world. I like those characters. By the end of episode 3, a big thing finally fucking happens, which is kind of great.
Okay.
But it's a bit of a sit to get to the big thing that actually happens.
What is it? Well, don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it, but
is it big? Does it involve other characters?
It involves who is going to, at least from what we can tell, will be the big bad of, if not the entire season, at least the first arc of the season.
Okay.
The way Marvel seems to be breaking these into chunks of 6.
Yes.
And so by the 6th episode, something big that spins the season the next way. This is the big thing for at least the first act of the show.
Is it an old returning villain?
No, not that I can tell.
Brand new?
Brand new. But yeah, I mean, all the performances are really strong. The writing is really good. It's just taking its time.
This is a season of all female directors, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolute sense. Yeah, for the first time ever, they're like, it's a show about a woman.
Yeah.
All the directors should be women.
You know, seems like a no-brainer, but it took a while.
You gonna keep going?
Not really. No, I will.
But more for a sense of like being a completionist, then you're like, I fucking dig it.
There is so much to fucking watch. There honestly is. Like,
it's kind of becoming the problem, isn't it? Like, makes you not want to go pitch anything because you're like, what are the chances? Like, it used to. I think the chances of getting, like, there's a lot more places, so everyone's content hungry. But you know, everyone wants like Game of Thrones, where I'm like, I don't fucking have Game of Thrones in me. Oh my god, I watch the show. Like, do you need a show about a guy who talks about the show? Because I'd be okay for that. But yeah, man, it's crazy. There's so much to keep up with.
There's a ton. So I will totally watch the rest of it because I like the first season so much. At the very least, I can. I
love that first season as well. It feels like it's been a minute since that show happened.
It has been. Marvel takes their time, both in the episodes and in releasing the episodes.
So that's what you've watched?
Yeah.
Fucking A. All right, we moving on to something else?
We could do some news.
Well, let's dive into the goddamn news. That's what we're here to do, ladies and gentlemen. Fat Man on Batman digs into the utility belt. Remember that? And brings you the news. Give it up for Marc Bernardin. He looked up the news.
The fruits of my Google searching are here. Do you know who's finally going to be fucking Superman?
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas fucking Cage.
Yes. That proves if you wait long enough and you're patient, everything you want in life will eventually happen. Good for Nicolas Cage, man. He's doing this in a Teen Titans Go cartoon movie?
Yeah, like he's finally going to voice the Man of Steel. Well, I mean, come on. He's a little haggard at this point. I'm not sure that's
no way. I interviewed him at Sundance. He looks like the same Nic Cage that I fell in love with in Valley Girl. This is no, truly. I'm not looking through love's eyes. He looks fucking good. I fully support this. The title of the movie is adorable, though. It's Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Yeah, because it's all about like the Teen Titans tracking down a big budget Hollywood filmmaker to make their movie.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They better ask me to do a voice of one person they talk to. I don't got to be the last guy, but like, you know, it'd be nice. They already put me in a cartoon recently, one of their flicks. They did the Judas Contract. And I was a big fan of the Judas Contract growing up. This version deviated slightly with some characters and stuff. And then I know they really deviated when they were like, I was like, who am I playing? They're like, you're going to play yourself, and you're going to be doing a podcast with Beast Boy. And I was like, that wasn't in the book I read when I was a kid. But it was wonderful to do. That sounds fucking fun. And Nic Cage voicing Superman is fantastic.
It's amazing.
It'll be so fun.
This is the thing they chose him for. Like, they seem to be making like 3 fucking Warner's animated movies a year, and this is the one he's Superman for. But good for him. Good
maybe
for them.
Eventually they get around to doing the Superman movie that I wrote, or that Tim Burton was going to do, and they let him do the voice then. Maybe this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Nothing ever really dies.
That's true. Especially fucking Superman. Have you seen the billboards all over for Krypton?
Yeah.
Pretty fucking impressive.
I know.
That show it makes me more and more, it sucks me in. For example, the guy in the trailer who's like, you know, hey man, in the future, your fucking grandson is a hero, the greatest hero of all time, is Adam fucking Strange. Like for me and that guy. That's DC Comics. Like, I've never thought we'd see Adam Strange in a movie, man. The champion of fucking Ron. Holy shit. And they're using him as a character. Like, I salute that. That's cool. Brainiac's the fucking bad guy. Like, I know it doesn't have Superman and shit, but I'm fucking in. They got enough other elements where I'm like, all right, I'm there.
Yeah, I'm curious enough to watch it, but I still have some like fundamental but nobody flies, right? So,
well, they'll fly in like spaceships and stuff, but no, they won't be like. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it's one of those like, so all the things you love about this character were kind of taken away and making like a legal show on another planet where people just walk around and shit.
Law and Order Krypton. The justice phase is a lot harsher. They send you to fucking the Phantom Zone and shit.
There's a Star Wars live action show coming.
Yes. To be created by
Johnny Fabs.
Now, I support this because I think Iron Man is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my life, and still, perhaps the high bar for every Marvel movie to be measured against. Still stands up. The movie's wonderful. It is, in my estimation, having watched it now hundreds of times, finding no flaws. It is like almost Star Wars perfect in how it creates a fucking universe. Really great stuff. So I support Favreau doing anything. I didn't see The Jungle Book, but that's just because fuck me. But this sounds like a good idea because when I see Iron Man, like at one point they were talking about him to direct The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes a lot of sense because that Iron Man movie is very much like Star Wars. But it looks like now he gets to do something else. Let me guess though. Everyone happy about it on the internet? No. See?
I mean,
why are people unhappy about that?
It seems that we're in a world in which Star Wars is no longer the thing that makes everybody happy.
You think it's oversaturation?
I think there's a little bit of that. I think that we've talked about it before. The response to The Last Jedi, notwithstanding, but
which I just watched because it's on digital. So I ordered it, I guess, a while ago. Went and turned on my iTunes. Suddenly, Last Jedi was in my library. I was like, oh, fucking past Kev, looking out for future Kev. And so I kicked back and went immediately to post Battle of Crate when Luke shows up and shit. And just bawled my eyes out. It's so beautiful, like when he fucking talks to Leia. And then when going in what having seen the movie, it's even a little more touching. Because she almost says, he goes, I have to say something. She goes, I know what you want to say. And then she's like, I changed my hair. And she misleads from the fact that she knows he's not, spoilers, truly fucking there. So it's a beautiful scene, but then he comes out. I'm telling you, the moment of the movie may belong to, what's his name, Adam Driver, who I didn't watch I didn't watch Girls, so I didn't know his work. He's fucking awesome, I think, as Kylo Ren. But when he sees fucking Luke come out and he's like, I want every gun aimed at that man. It's like, it gives you fucking chills because you're like, well, I guess if you were Kylo Ren, that's what you would say. But at the same time, you're like, come on, bro, he's a Jedi master, Something's fishy here. But it was fucking dope, man. It was like, I want every fuck. And at one point, like before he goes down, Hux is like bitching at him, and he goes, fucking lower me down to the ground or whatever. And Hux goes, do you really think it's wise? And he fucking force punches him across the room. And the guy driving the fucking AT-AT is just like, right away, sir. The movie's legit fucking funny, man, which is so weird because one of the reasons they said they got rid of the Solo directors was because the movie was too fucking funny. But Last Jedi has a good sense of humor to it. That scene is wonderful. I went back and rewatched Yoda and Luke right away. I'll go back and watch the whole movie, but I was like, I want the fucking best of shit, the shit that I really loved. But I watched the deleted scenes. And there's one deleted scene there's one that's been on the internet all week of Captain Phasma fighting Finn, and that's good. But this was a sequence of Luke and Rey are like by their, fucking Jabba the Hutts. And they're looking out at the water and there are boats coming. And he's like, those are people, they come once a month to raid and maraud at the caretakers' village. The caretakers were the little puggish-looking people that
Space nuns.
Space nuns, exactly. So she goes, we have to do something. And Luke is like, not according to the Jedi texts. He's like, it's not our place. Like, you know, unless you find complete balance, you have no business getting involved in that situation. She's like, but people will be hurt. And, you know, he's just like, what are you going to do? Run down there with a lightsaber? Then what happens? Next time they come with more people. And are you going to be here next month? It was like a really dope scene. And finally, she's just like, you know, fucking blah, blah, I'm a Jedi or some sort of shit. And she jumps off the cliff, goes sliding down it, lands on the water and runs. And it was a great effect. It looked like they had her on wires or something like that, but she fucking ran like in a really, like not like Ezra Miller in Justice League where he's like this, but like she was running really fucking fast. It was a convincing running effect, but it didn't look like the Flash on TV or in the movies or anything. And she gets to the village and there's a gate. You see this gate and she fucking snaps on the lightsaber and breaks the door open and rushes in. And all the nuns are with, I guess, what are all the priests, like the men version of them.
Are they
and
fucking?
they're not fucking, but it looks like they're about to. They're having some sort of light ceremony where they're dancing and shit like that, and they all freeze and look at her, and she's got the lightsaber lit, and then one of them holds up the beads and goes like this, and since they glow. And then Rey takes her lightsaber and goes, and they all go, yeah, and go back to the party and shit. And then she sees Luke and she's going, you said they were coming here to maraud and rage. He's like, they are, in a way. And Marc has a really great delivery where he's like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, I tried to, but you ran so fast. And he's laughing when he says it. It's a really fucking cute scene, but it gave more insight into Luke Skywalker and where his head is at and stuff like that. But, you know, for time, clearly it had to go or something. But it was a good scene.
Did you see that behind-the-scenes clip? It was on Twitter today of when Marc was on set the first time that Frank Oz was doing Yoda again.
Yes.
And you just see his heart melt.
He literally clutches as well.
He was like, I didn't think I would be this emotional, but oh my God, it's fucking Yoda.
Yeah, he gets real kind of verklempt and shit. It's a beautiful little clip.
Lovely.
That's in the documentary. There's an 1.5-hour documentary that comes with the movie, the Jedi and the director or something like that. And it's about Ryan. It's about the making of the movie, but mostly about Ryan and Marc's relationship or something. So I'm gonna watch that. It looks fucking good.
Yeah.
But anyway, Star Wars. Yeah, what happened with Last Jedi? It eventually made all the monies, though, right?
It did what it was supposed to do, which was, you know, make $1 billion, which is what they expected it to do.
It didn't make as much as Force Awakens.
It didn't make as much as Force Awakens. You know, some of it is because Force Awakens was the first fucking Star Wars movie in
a long time,
20 years.
But I think if I read correctly, they were happy with what they did with Force Awakens. This is fucking gorgeous.
Ooh.
Whose is that, man? Whose piece is this? Where? It's beautiful. Give us the rundown. Come up here real quick. God, that's fucking nice, man. Give me your microphone. You didn't make it?
You just bought it? All right, sit down.
Yeah, fuck off. Where'd you get? Is this a gift to one of us, or are we supposed to sign it? A street artist did this on Hollywood Boulevard? Look at that. That's fucking raw talent right there. Did it with a couple Sharpies, look like. Are we meant to sign it, or is you just wanted to show it off?
Marc as well, please.
Sure.
Marc as well? Yeah. Well, I expected. I wasn't like, hey, man, let's fuck off.
This is mine.
That's a beautiful piece. Anyway, back to Star Wars.
Yeah, so I don't really... It made less than Force Awakens, but everything was going to make less than Force Awakens.
Right.
Which was a genuine phenomenon. I think there were some people who, didn't like Force Awakens the same way that there were some people who didn't like Last Jedi. Like, Star Wars for many is holy and sacrosanct and should only... What?
That's a fucking Batman nightlight, man. Happy to sign this shit.
Wow.
All right, so I, for one, am for a Star Wars series. Some people online I saw expressed concern or like another fucking white man, because it's this seems like the stewards of the series have largely been white dudes, middle-aged white dudes, and I guess there was some thought to hey, wouldn't it have been great if you put a woman in charge of this? So I guess there were people saying you're gonna fill your writer's room with diversity and stuff. So, you know, hopefully that'll be the case. But
Yeah.
as a creator, man, that guy's fucking good. He's legit.
I mean, they must love the fuck out of Lion King because they just keep giving that dude giant IP.
Think about it, dude. Lion King is going to make all the fucking money. Like, that movie by itself as a cartoon made all the money. Now they're like, oh my God, Beyonce is one of the lions, you know.
Donald Glover's one of the lions.
Oh my God, fucking Childish Gambino's a lion.
So yeah, that is coming for the Disney app. That
What is? Oh, the Star Wars series?
thing. Yeah, because they are very aggressively programming for that app.
That Disney app, man, is going to really give Netflix a run for its money. Because number one, they'll have all the content, like all the Disney movies and like, you know, on Netflix. I imagine most parents are like, here, babysit my child. And so Disney movies are helpful for that. And they got all the Marvel movies, and now they're going to have all the fucking Fox movies as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, what a great time for them to start a digital channel, their own app.
But they're very much about also putting original programming on there. So they're going to do a live action Marvel show that I don't think they've announced yet. Star Wars is happening. Other sort of like children oriented content, some animated stuff. Like they're making it an unmissable thing.
Smart.
So good for them.
I look forward to see where Favreau takes us. I imagine it's all new characters, not...
We don't know very much
We
about
have
it.
no idea whatsoever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Rian Johnson's creating a new series of movies with all new characters, right?
Right. And the Game of Thrones boys are making a series with
Oh
all
my
new
God, that's
characters.
right. Everyone's getting a fucking Star Wars show except us.
I'm just saying, man, they're giving dudes with beards movies. You should call your agent.
That's true.
You got a beard.
I don't honestly, like, even if they were like, hey man, we want you to do a Star Wars show, I don't think I have it in me. I'd be like, that seems like way too much pressure.
Oh, I'd put it in you. We'd find a way to make that shit happen.
They're like, if you're gonna make jokes like that, we're gonna take the show back. Yeah, I don't think I'm happy to be a fan of that shit, and I'm happy to from the sidelines tell them what they're doing wrong. But I don't know that I'd ever want to be the steward of something that big, something that's particularly something that I enjoy. Like it's like the Marvel movies. I don't want to make a Marvel movie because like, A, I can't. B, they don't want me to, and C, like. That's my go-to. That's what I look forward to. Like fucking when I was laying on the fucking table in the OR trying not to die, I was like, gotta live, Infinity Wars.
Maybe they moved it up for you.
I'm just living, as might have been the case. I'm just living Marvel movie to Marvel movie. So I don't want to go work on one. Maybe you lose your appreciation because now I'm still like starry-eyed when they come out.
Speaking of Star Wars,
Yes.
John Williams
Yeah.
is done scoring Star Wars movies after Episode 9.
Why?
'Cause
Oh,
he-
after episode 9. He'll do
Yes.
the whole saga.
He's going to do the whole saga.
He's like, look, I don't want to work for other people. I just want to do the saga movies and
Right.
close it up. That makes sense.
But yeah, he's also 400 years old. But yeah, he said that that's the end of his run.
I get that. Like, why not end when the official saga ends? But that's me imagining when the official saga ends. They always said it would end at 9, but it's not going to end at 9, is it?
No.
No.
We are not going to be living in a world of just spin-offs and
There will be an episode 10.
I don't imagine Episode 9 is the last time we see Rey.
Right.
You know, I don't.
She's got to be
happening.
the old Grizzly Adams, Luke Skywalker of the next 3 movies.
Right, for the young Jedi adventures. So she could just be in like a cabin on Endor telling stories.
One time I saw Luke Skywalker milk a sea cow. Most fucked up thing I ever saw. Fucking drank that shit. Crazy. All right, that's
Sad, but I get it.
Yeah.
It turns out that, you know, we knew that there was like a gold rush on comic book universes, right?
Yes.
Remember that Sony had bought the Valiant universe at some point?
Yes.
They are finally making their first Valiant movie.
Ooh. Let me guess. Hold on. Is it XL Manowar?
No.
Is it Magnus, Dr. Magnus Robot Fighter?
No.
Because that would be good. Is
Badass.
it? I give up. What is it?
Bloodshot, starring Vin Diesel.
Oh. Well, that'll like people like him, right?
Well, they like him when he does one thing.
As long as he drives a car in this movie, they'll be like,
Pretty much. As long as The Rock is next to him doing something.
Wow. Well, you know what? He's already, a star of a huge Marvel franchise. He plays Groot.
He does.
So this will allow him to say more than one sentence in a superhero movie.
Maybe.
Right. I'm in. I'll go see that. I liked the Valiant Universe back in the day when I was still collecting books when they launched it in the 90s. I liked the books quite a bit.
It is being directed by a fellow named Dave Wilson, who I'm sure you don't know. Dave Wilson.
Dave Wilson?
Dave Wilson of the Chicago Wilsons.
I thought Davey Wilson, the old SNL director, the guy who was like 86 or something.
That is
like
a deep fucking cut.
Well, I like that show.
Well, all right. Who should be known to you because he's a longtime collaborator and partner in Blur Studios of our boy Tim Miller.
Oh.
Yes.
He's a contemporary of Tim Miller? Any friend of Tim Miller's is a friend of mine, man. That dude's fucking crazy talented. And then I met him in real life, and he was a crazy nice guy as well. And crazy gossipy as well, which I fucking love. Like, I sat down, I was like, why ain't you on Deadpool 2? And he's like, let me tell you.
And the script is by your friend and mine, Eric Heiserer, Oscar nominee for Arrival.
Oh, we fucking love that movie.
We fucking love that
That's
movie.
a great script, and you know him. He's your buddy.
I know that dude. And the fact that he's writing a Bloodshot movie makes me not want to see a Bloodshot movie.
Yeah, I would agree. If I wasn't already interested, that's enough to make me go, oh, shit, it's got some bona fides.
Yeah, but they are moving aggressively.
The Valiant era begins.
The Valiant era.
Will it be as popular as Marvel? Wait and see.
Will it be as popular as Rob Liefeld's Extreme Universe?
Is he launching something?
Netflix just acquired Rob Liefeld's Extreme Universe.
He's a nice guy, man. I met him I met him years ago, but 2 years ago I interviewed him, or last year at IMDb at the yacht at San Diego. He was a nice guy and stuff. I think when he came to the interview, he was giving me the sidelong glance because years ago in the 90s I was like, fuck Rob Liefeld. All of his characters have breasts, man, or something like that. And then
how many pouches do you need?
Exactly.
Why can't you draw feet?
That don't look like. Deep cuts, man. But I blew him up and talked about like how he was one of the Image founders and like he created fucking Deadpool and X-Force and stuff, gave him his propers, and so he seems like a really nice guy. What is the Extreme Universe?
Well, it was his baby imprint at Image. In the same way that Jim had Wildstorm and Marc had Top Cow.
So what are the characters?
Let's see. I've never heard of any of them. Aside from Evangeline, which I think he created.
Oh, yeah.
But let's see. Brigade, Bloodstrike, Cybrid, Rejects, Bloodwolf, and Kaboom are among the 50 characters that come with the Extreme Universe. Any of those ring a bell? Anybody?
No, but that's...
Anything?
But that's not...
Doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah. It's IP, number one.
It's IP.
Tried and tested. Number two, it's got you could put from the creator of Deadpool.
That is exactly why they've got the Extreme Universe.
Absolutely.
Akiva Goldsman, sort of writer, producer, occasional director, is sort of creatively shepherding the project. And
I'm not saying this to be a dick, but you left out writer of Batman and Robin. But he's also the guy that's on, I think, Teen Titans. Isn't he one of the co-creators of Teen Titans show? Mm-hmm. Bless you. All right.
Yeah, so we'll see which of these universes actually come to fruition and which don't, and if anybody gives a shit about any universe that is not Marvel. And
yeah, I mean, look, it's tough to get people to give a shit about the DC universe, man. They've been around for a while. I don't envy anybody that's just like, I'm going to create my universe right now.
Yeah, the level of difficulty.
And the problem with that, too, is like, it presupposes that you're going to be successful the first time around enough that somebody wants to see it again to create a universe. And, Universal just did that with like, welcome to the dark universe. And then they're like, someone turn the fucking lights off on the way out. We're fucking done. But I'm on board. Yeah. I'll give it a watch. Netflix?
Yeah.
Shit, it's free. I'll watch it.
I'll give it 3 episodes. We'll see what happens. Did you ever see The Golden Compass? Are you familiar at all with his Dark Materials stuff?
I am not. I'm familiar with the materials as books. I didn't read them, but I know they exist. God bless you. And I didn't watch the movie. That was Nicole Kidman, Daniel Craig, Paul White's directed movie or something.
Yeah. BBC is taking another run at it as an 8-part miniseries.
That makes sense.
To be directed by Tom Hooper, who did The King's Speech.
Oh.
I think he won an Oscar for that.
I think
so
he
he's
did
like
too.
a super shiny director dude. It is going to star Daphne Keane, who was in Logan. She was X-21.
Oh, I thought you
23.
meant Daphne Moon. I was like, she has a name, which I can't remember, from Frasier. But
Yes.
who's Daphne Keane is a real person?
Yeah, she was the girl in Logan. She was...
Oh, the one that fucking cut everybody up and
Yep.
put the fucking cross on its side?
Yeah, her.
She was very talented.
Yeah, she's great. And Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to also co-star in this thing.
Right on. Good
Which
for
means
him.
it gets made.
Yeah, no doubt. Right? Wow. Well, I didn't read the books. I didn't watch the last one. I probably won't see this one, but good on him, man.
Hey, here's the thing. It's
Keep chugging along, Golden Compass.
It's on the BBC, so you get it for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck. I probably still won't dive in, but
That's
maybe.
fair. Because I don't think she kills anybody with, like, foot spikes.
Yeah, there ain't gonna be any of that shit. That was
No.
riveting. I rewatched that recently in black and white, and I was like, "Fuck, this movie's goddamn dynamite." And it was also deserving. Didn't it get screenplay
Yeah,
nominated?
best adapted screenplay.
I think it absolutely deserved it. It's a complex, well-written script. Yeah, fuck, that's a good movie. All right.
Yeah, one more thing.
Yes.
Fox wants to reboot Buffy.
Are you asking my permission?
I mean, if you feel good about it.
Why, are they doing it with Joss Whedon?
They want it to happen. They're waiting for Josh to come to them with an idea and a take, but given, I don't know where his ideas went on Batgirl, but maybe he's got a thing to say about Buffy again. But it is high on their list of things they want to reboot. Like, we've done the 24-bit, we did Prison Break, nobody seemed to care, but the time is right. The time has always been right, honestly, for another stake at Buffy. Puns.
I heard it.
Wordplay.
Yeah, I mean...
You were not a Buffy guy, right?
No, but I mean, I respect its place in pop culture, but I didn't watch the show and stuff. And I've seen a few episodes because we had to, before I cast Eliza Dushku and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I watched the Faith arc. And I, got it, dug it, and shit like that. But honestly, Flash and Supergirl give me that. And they come from the legacy of that show. So I feel in some ways I'm still contributing to Buffy, even though I've never seen it. I would imagine he's the key man.
He is the key
Would
man.
you really want to head back into that country without the guy?
I almost don't think you can, except that you probably could. Whether or not the fans would show up for it, I don't know, but you know.
I mean, you can make new fans. Look, they took the Powerpuff Girls and they recreated them, and everyone was okay with it.
They did. And I would have rather the new X-Files not had Chris Carter involved, personally.
Yeah, have you been watching?
I watched the first season of the revamped X-Files and kind of hated it. So I've been very gingerly making my way through the second season, which is better, but it's still, there's so much juice still in that particular box that a fresh mind could have done something awesome with it.
And instead of the guy who created it.
Right.
Man, everyone gets Lucased out of their shit, Like, fucking Lucas is like, I'm gonna make new Star Wars, And everybody was like, fuck yeah, the time is now, holy shit. And then they saw it and they were like, fuck Jar Jar. And then he did 2 more, and they were all fucking pretty great movies, and so let's say pretty good, wonderful, watchable movies. And then at the end of the day, they scared the poor guy away from his creation. Literally, the dude said, I think it was the New York Times, he was just like, I wanted to come back and make a movie, but people just kept yelling at me. So he got, they were like, let's give it to somebody else, and they've had a lot of success, obviously, without him being there. So yeah, I guess they could do that to Chris Carter as well.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that stories and characters only achieve immortality once they've been reinterpreted by somebody new.
That's true. Batman's been handled by a fuck ton of people.
Batman, James Bond,
Sherlock Holmes,
Tarzan, like all of these things, they live forever because somebody new gets to tell a different version of that story. And I think that in the same way that we absolutely were going to get a new Captain Kirk, and Captain Kirk doesn't become immortal unless it's reinterpreted by somebody else. We're going to have a new Indiana Jones at some point.
So that means sooner or later I got to fucking hand over Jay and Silent Bob if I want to see it continue?
You absolutely do.
Well, I'll do that, but I'm handing it over to the porn industry. Because I want to see a series of films called Gay and Silent Bob.
They will do it whether you give it to them or not.
That sounded so dirty the way you said it.
I'm going to put it in you.
All right, man. Well, is that all the news that's
That is
fit
all
to
the
print?
news that's fit to print.
Ladies and gentlemen, the news portion of the show is over, which means that we are at our favorite portion of the show. This is Q&A. This is where we get to talk to the audience and find out what they want to talk about. If we pick you and you ask a great question that generates some fun answers and stuff, hey, man, you could win one set of 2 4DX tickets. If you've not seen a movie in 4DX,
holy shit.
The best comparison I could make is by going to every movie theater you've ever been to, even the best with the seats that lay back, you have been getting a hand job. 4DX is like entering an orgy where you're fucked by 20 people and you're like, this is fucking, like it's incredible. It takes the movie experience and dials it up. If it's snowing in the movie, it's snowing in the theater. If fucking tires peel out, you smell burnt rubber. It's so fun. If the chair goes, chair moves, the chair you're in is moving all around. If you're watching The Last Jedi, as the crawl goes in the beginning, your chair goes back to match the crawl. It's a wonderful experience and stuff. We got one of these theaters where LA Live, I think.
Yeah, downtown.
They got one in Chicago. They got one in New York. We got tickets here for the LA Live version of it. Are they good anywhere? Or just LA Live? No, it says LA Live. Yeah. Brought to us by the good folks at 4DX and our good friend Brett Deacon. Give it up for Deacon, ladies and gentlemen. He brought tickets. So we turned over to JC. JC has picked the first person to ask a question, and it's over to you. What's your name, good sir?
My name is Ray.
What is it?
Ray.
Ray!
Hey, what's up, sir? Now, you got a question for both me and Mark, yes?
Correct.
Fire away, my good friend.
I just want to say first, I'm glad to finally see you. I've tried to see you 3 times. But all
Where?
3 times,
Where?
for some reason, Jason Mewes is who I meet. And then you just kind of disappear.
That's because I never borrow money from fans like he does. That's what he does after the show. He loiters outside and he's like, $5, give me a pack of squeaks. This is actually like this venue and this show is probably the most intimate way to meet me shy of us literally
I was
having
trying to
sex.
see you on your show, but you had a heart attack. I was like, oh, man. I thought
were
it
you
was
going
your
to one of
stomach
those live shows that night?
Yeah, I was on the second show.
Second show.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, damn. And I
show
saw the
that never
ambulance and
happened.
everything. It's like, that must be for him. I thought it was just a stomach flu. So
I think they told the crowd, thank you. I think they told the crowd that I had food poisoning because I'd thrown up, and they were like, I guess that's what's happening. Yeah. But then when I left, they were like, heart attack?
Yeah, I woke up in the morning. I was like, oh, my God, this actually happened. I was there.
You did. Fucking you felt that way. Holy shit. Sorry. The good news, though, is that the first show was 2 hours. And so when I got off stage, I remember Brian, who's the producer at Comedy Dynamics, was just like, you don't even have to do a second show. You gave us 2 hours. We need 1 hour. So, oh my God.
That's what he told us, yeah.
So, I was like, but I still want to do the second show because I had a whole show of completely different material, like 2 different hours that I had planned. And so the one reason I could be like, all right, we can cancel the second show was because I knew we had the special, but then I felt shitty about everyone else who was there for the second show. So that's why I kept trying to push through. I was like, I'll get better. I literally almost died trying to do your fucking second show.
I'm glad you did it. Cause,
Me too.
I finally got to see you now.
Thank you. Welcome. This is the best place to see me, man. It's closest. This is the one where you can roll up a tissue and throw it at me, and it hurts. That's how close all the seats are. So what do you want to know?
So I want to know, if I had all the money in the world to fund you guys' project, what's your dream project that would be able to fund you guys?
You want to start? What's your dream project, Marc Bernardin?
My dream project? Is it something like based on other IP? Like, are we also going to go out and buy some awesome shit? Could we do that?
Yes. I'm
you have all the money
the richest man in the world.
You're fucking Richie Rich grown up. You have like pools of gold that you swim in and shit. I think I talked about it on the podcast, I think once before, but I am dying to do a Secret of Nim TV show.
Nice.
I feel like there's a world in which that is Game of Thrones with super intelligent fucking mice and magic and science and sword fighting and Shakespeare and underground rosebush palaces and all kinds of fucking awesome. that that you could go 5 seasons telling that particular story, and it would never get old. So yeah, if you have all the money in the world, let us go to the Widow Bluth and be like, give us the fucking rights. Is he dead?
Who?
Don Bluth's wife. Is he still alive? Did I just kill him? Did I just do that?
Somewhere Don Bluth is drawing on, I'm alive, you piece of shit.
Fuck you, Anastasia too.
He's like, you know what the secret to my long fucking life is? Nim. Okay, me. If it was one of, well, here, do you want your money back?
No, this is so that you could do your own passion before.
So
you
it don't
die.
matter. It doesn't have to be
Exactly.
marketable and shit. Here, take your pick. Moose Jaws, Hit Somebody, Jay and Silent Bob reboot, but I think we're almost close on our financing there. But if it wasn't one of mine, I mean, I used to say, like back in the day, oh my God, fucking Watchmen on HBO, but they're doing it. Yeah. We live in an era of wonders and miracles, so that's already fucking happening. If I were to take somebody else's IP, I've been talking about this. I talked about it on the last fucking show, I think. But like this week, all right, I'm gonna say it again. I love the Disney movie Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and I wholeheartedly believe that you could fucking remake that movie today, and it would make a ton of fucking money because it's got witches who fight Nazis with an army of the fucking undead. Like, and it's set in Britain, so it's got that fun accent and shit. I said that last week on the show. So this week, I watched it again. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, and I was like, maybe you shouldn't shoot your fucking mouth off about a movie you haven't seen in a long time. Take a watch. Fucking holds up.
Still holds up.
Like, oh my God. So Scott Mosier, my friend, and produced all my best work. And he's been my podcast partner on Smodcast for 10 years as well. Scott recently, well, he didn't recently, but it outed recently. Long time ago, Scott got a job making this turkeys movie, fucking Freebirds, thank you, overseeing an animated flick. And he always wanted to be in animation. She's a great artist. So he did that flick, and it was a real learning curve experience for him. And that flick led to a job at Illumination, which is the home of Minions and stuff like that. So he was working on some stuff there, overseeing it, and he also directed like one of the cartoon shorts. And he wound up aggregating to co-director on The Grinch, the movie that they'll release like in November. Like every Illumination movie makes all the money. There's no fucking way, even if he puts the Grinch's dick in this movie, there's no way it doesn't hit $1 billion, man. It's the fucking Grinch
good.
and shit. And yeah, it looks good. And
Is that what the sleigh is hanging on at the end of the movie? It's
His
hanging on the
dick.
Grinch's dick, and Max is swinging from the end.
They're like, for kids, but also for adults. So, so Mosier, I texted him while I was watching Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and I was sending him clips from the movie that I was just shooting off my laptop, because there's like things that like we've been joking about for like 25 years. He also liked the movie, God bless you. So we like to like yell it at each other from time to time, like, Bed, take us to the Isle of Nabumbu, you know, do bad British accents and stuff like that. Like one of our favorite expressions that we still use to this day came from that movie, which is like the one brother, Charlie, is just talking about how they don't have a lot of things. Eglintine's asking like, do they have stuff? And he goes, we don't have a lot of frillies, travel light, that's us. So I sent him the clip of Travel Light, that's us. And he was like, oh shit, you're watching it? I said, this shit fucking holds up, dude. I said, when your fucking Grinch movie makes $1 billion, can we walk into Disney and tell them we want to remake this? Like, they won't listen to me, but they might listen to you after that and shit. You're coming off a hit animated movie and shit. So that's my dream. But I guess with the money, that wouldn't help. I don't know. If I went to Disney, I was like, I want to remake Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and I have the money to do it. Yeah. You know, do I have your permission? They're like, fuck no.
Because you're going to make Bedknobs and Broom Dicks, and that's not the movie we want.
Gay and Silent Bob 2, Bedknobs and Broom Dicks. Hopefully that happens one day. And I honestly, like Seth Rogen, when I interviewed him on IMDb on the boat at Sundance, we were talking about, I was like, you fucking became so prolific, dude. You just make a lot of shit, not even just your movies, but like Preacher and blah, 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 and then Future Man. And I said, what drives you, man? Like, what is the thing that like makes you do it? And he goes, usually it's this simple. He's like, with Preacher, I realized if we didn't do it, somebody else was going to fuck it up. So I just wanted to do it before somebody else fucked it up. And you know, at the time I was like, that's an interesting motivation. And now I understand it. After having watched Bed Knobs and Broomsticks at 3 a.m. the other day, blazed out of my fucking mind, I was like, I'm the only one who could do this. But that would be the one I would go for. Awesome. Oh, that's a great question. You get the tickets. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. He won some tickets. Well met, my good friend. All right, JC, where are we headed to next? Throw him into that speaker's corner and let's hear from him. Hey, what's your name? Slide over a little bit more before JC pushes you. He did it.
See, anyway.
What's your name?
I'm Albert.
Everyone give it up for Albert, man.
Albert!
All right, Albert, our only rules are that the questions got to be answerable by both of us and create a good answer and stuff.
Perfect. It's actually funny. My friend just flew into town to see me for my birthday, and he's like, oh, I'm down to do anything. He's like, oh, great, we're going to go watch Kevin Smith tonight. I hope you enjoy it. I don't know if you are.
And you were like, unhappy birthday to me.
And so before anything, I just want to say, when I heard about your heart attack, it floored me. I got like 10 texts from my different friends who know that, you know, I'm a fan of yours. And
thank you.
It made me sad because I always wanted to tell you in person that the reason I moved out to LA in general was because of you. In college, you inspired me. And I just needed to tell you that in person before anything else.
That means the world. I did that to somebody once. Who was it? Hal Hartley. I was a big fan of the movie Trust, one of the movies that made me want to be a filmmaker. So I was talking to my friend Vincent the other morning. He reminded me of this story. We went to see a screening of the movie Trust at the Joe Papp Theater in New York. They were doing a retrospective. And I'd read in the Village Voice that Hal Hartley was going to introduce it. So I was like, oh my God, we could fucking meet the man. I'm going to bring my laser disc and have him sign it and shit. So we went up to the city and went to the screening. And, you know, it was a small theater and stuff. It was about 50 of us. And Hal comes in and you know, he's not like me where I'm like, I'm gonna put on a fucking show. Like, you know, he was like, I'm really happy everyone's here. This is a movie I made a few years ago. Please enjoy Trust, you know, and then off he went. So I had my Laserdisc with me. So I said to Vinny, I was like, I want to get it signed, man, but because there was no Q&A, he was just doing an intro. So he's like, go out, chase him down. So I fucking left the theater and ran out and grabbed him in the hallway. I said, Mr. Hartley, man, how are you? And he was like, hey, how are you? I said, I have a Trust Laserdisc. Will you sign it for me? He was like, oh my God, absolutely. And so he goes to sign it, and I go, you made me want to be a filmmaker. I'm gonna go to film school in Vancouver because I saw Trust. And he goes, thank you. And he's writing insanely slow. And Hal only has 3 letters in it, you know? So finally, I didn't know what else to say, and I was like, hurry up, man, the movie started. And he looked up and he was like, okay, and then finished it. And I fucking went back and watched the flick. But I know how important that is to sometimes tell the people that made you think, maybe I can do this shit. So that means the world. Thank you.
Thank you. And so, yeah, my question was going to be whether, because Ready Player One, they just got great attention in South by Southwest, and I wanted to know what you guys thought of it, if you guys were excited. But I just read some news online because my friend actually showed it to me, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I started looking, but Stephen Hawking just passed away.
Are you fucking shitting me?
I'm not joking. Look at Twitter, it's blowing up right now. Yeah. Wow. And I was like, I was floored. I stopped listening for like 5 minutes. I apologize to the show because I was blown away, and I maybe take a few minutes, maybe talk about him and see.
What a good thought, man. You know what? That wins you tickets. Give it up for this guy. That's all heart. Stephen Hawking didn't mean that much to me, and I don't mean that in a shitty way. Like fuck him. I'm sad that he's passed, but I'm not smart enough to understand the shit that he was interested in. You?
I read Brief History of Time. I read his book.
Did you really?
I did really, though, I swear.
From cover to cover?
Well, I left out the appendices because there's a lot of smart shit back there. And
Fair enough.
Just can't get into it.
Yeah, like when the book got smart, I put it down.
But like I figured that I loved science fiction enough to actually want to read a little science. so that when it comes time for me to make science fiction, I would at least only have to make up half of it. You know, like I wouldn't have to lie as much about, no, I swear this makes sense, totally. But I think the idea of getting a culture to appreciate and embrace science in a real way, like Carl Sagan did it first, and then fucking Stephen Hawking, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson. The idea that learning about the world around us and examining it in a real way and doing the deep fucking thoughts about how reality works and how the fabric of time works and all of that stuff is a improbable feat and a thing for which we should all be grateful for. Because without people doing that big thinking and making it relatable to everybody, you know, that's always the problem of like, I don't understand science, but I like it when it works for me. But being able to explain the way the universe works to people who don't have advanced degrees, to people who can't speak in numbers, to people who just want to know why the sky is blue and why time does what time does, is a platonic good, I think. And so for anybody who helps, you know, a fucking 14-year-old kid kind of wrap his brain around the way the world works, like, you know, Godspeed. And he fucked a lot of nurses, even when he couldn't move. So I should be so lucky as to have that kind of impulse when nothing in my body works but my brain.
This is also, I mean, we should point out, like, he did some of the biggest thinking on this planet from the confines of a fucking wheelchair and with the inability to actually verbally communicate. You know, the guy's a living example of can do, for Christ's sakes. Like, so many of us are like, I can't do it. This guy did it, and he really couldn't and shouldn't have been able to do it, but fucking found a way to do it. Inspiring, to say the least. I forgot about the nurses. Is that true?
That's super true.
He's very...
But he was our mentor.
How weird that you're like, I know all about Steve
I know all about
his life.
I saw that movie. He's a fucking pervert.
Oh, is that what happened in the movie? He
Yeah,
fucked
yeah.
nurses?
Oh, yeah.
No, did he?
He was married to Felicity Jones.
Yes.
But they had a somewhat open relationship.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm off to save the galaxy. Rogue One, bitch.
But he was a mentat in as much as we ever had a mentat. By my will alone do I set my mind in motion. By the juice of Sabu do the thoughts acquire speed, the speed acquire thought, the lips acquire stain. By my will alone do I set my mind in motion.
Hey, we should go back to the other question. We should take all the fucking money he was offering us, make the Dune series. Yeah.
Or at the very least, the commentary track.
That's really what we should do. Just get together for a commentary track. We love the old Dune, but you've read the book, right?
I read the book.
You're a fan. You go deeper than
I know,
Lynch.
fucking deep is deep.
Did you like Lynch's version?
I did like Lynch's work. Like,
Did you watch the miniseries version on Sci-Fi?
I've watched all of it. I've watched the Alan Smithy cut of the David Lynch version.
Right.
Just 4.5 hours long.
With all the extra information. A
Yeah.
lot of exposition.
It's exposition with a little bit of punching and weirding modules, but I love it to death.
My name is a killing word. Right on, man. That's a great question. Do you have more?
Oh, no. Actually, Stephen Hawking was, I guess, influential to me where it's weird, but because of Eddie Redmayne, everyone just kept telling me for years, you look like Stephen Hawking.
So you're like, I'm really affected by his death.
Yeah,
Because it's like seeing my own in advance.
Well, he got me to meet people that I wouldn't actually meet because they would just be like, you look like Stephen Hawking and strap up a conversation, even though I'd be like, I don't look like Stephen Hawking, I look like Eddie Redmayne. But
You're like, I don't look like Hawkins. I look like the Fierce Creatures guy, or whatever. What's it called?
Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic
Yes.
Beasts,
I was
Fierce
gonna go
Creatures.
Jupiter Ascending, but that's just me.
You
Yeah.
do kind of look like Eddie Redmayne.
I got to at least finally cosplay something relevant to him because it was like, cosplaying Stephen Hawking, that might not work out too well. And cosplaying like...
I think a lot of people would be mystified if you weren't in the chair. Like, if you're healthy Stephen Hawking's, people are like, who are you? You're like, I'm healthy Stephen Hawking's. Like, you're a piece of shit. And they walk away.
I'm Stephen Hawking, got a wish come true.
And I guess he
Had a wish come true.
I'm going to hell. Straight
is
to hell
hysterical.
for me.
All right, we good?
Yeah, and he got me tickets, I guess. So
All right, man.
Go
Thank you.
enjoy
May
a
he rest in
40X
peace.
movie. Get it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. We got another one.
What's up, guys?
How are you?
I'm great.
Slide
How are
over
you?
about 6 more inches. 6 more. There you go.
Boom.
We're like now 2 inches that way.
No.
No, right down the barrel here. There you go.
Sorry, my first time.
No worries. Believe me, we're still dealing with it ourselves.
Thank you. Hey, I'm very happy to see you here.
Thank you. I'm waiting for the one person who gets up and he's like, I wish you died. Anyway, here's my question.
I flew all the way from San Francisco to see you right now.
That's
Mark,
fucking
thank you for
far.
liking my tweet on the way here. I almost died.
Well, you know, Lyft is a bitch,
It
man.
was rough.
What happened? Did you get robbed by a Lyft driver?
LA and Lyft, like, it's Fast and the Furious on the way here.
Oh, really? They
It was
drove
rough.
like crazy?
It was rough, you know. I don't
That's
know
my
if
kind of Lyft driver, somebody who drives like an asshole.
He got me here on time.
Yeah.
But, you know, LA traffic,
We don't
an hour
need
to go, 10
roads.
miles. That's how it goes.
Yeah, oh, God. Don't remind me.
I have a question.
Okay, fire away.
Context first. Been following the podcast since about 2013, 2014.
KO.
Your message has been, hey, if you got a creative endeavor, do it.
Yes.
Just do it. On my way home, that one day, probably interviewing Scott Snyder, I don't remember who, 2014-ish, I wrote a 4-issue miniseries. Wednesday of last week, first issue came out.
The fuck? Give it up for him, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Identity Stunt is the title. Marcosha is the publisher. And
What is the title?
Identity Stunt, like publicity stunt, identity stunt.
Identity Stunt.
This podcast was the major influence to get me to do it.
Oh, my God.
So thank you. I mean, I've been following your career since like the 90s, but your message of just go out there and fucking do it got me to do it.
And you
So
own
thank
something. You
Thank
created something.
Yes.
There's something
And it
now
led
where nothing
to
was.
something else, which I can't talk about, which is even better. All right, so
shit.
stay tuned. Now, because of that, my question is:
Yeah.
First of all, can I give you guys an ash can?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Ash can edition of the comic.
Marcosha is based out of the UK. I have not gotten my comp copies yet. It's only been about 5-6 days, so give me a few days. I had to print these up at my day job earlier today just to bring them to you guys. Okay, I'm sorry.
Steal those office supplies, man. Do it.
You're the writer?
I'm the writer.
Who
I'm
is
the
your
writer,
artist?
Creator. Ruri Coleman.
Wonderful
He's the
job.
current artist on Kiss versus Army of Darkness from
Oh,
Dynamite.
shit.
You guys. Yes. I'm very fortunate.
KO.
My question is, given that you are both a creator and a comic shop owner, and Mark, given that you're a creator of both Genius and I have every single title that you wrote for Wildstorm, how do I get my comic in as many hands and on as many devices as possible?
As a comic book store owner, the first answer that leaps to mind is New Comic Book Day.
Okay.
But you know, at that point, they do that as a loss leader. The big companies produce like a title that everyone likes at a very inexpensive to free rate, like for the comic book stores to buy, and then they give them out on New Comic Book Day. That to me is the easiest way, but the cost is on you. Number one, you have to get them to make you one of the official Free Comic Book Day books, and then you have to print a fuck ton of free comic books. But
That shouldn't be a problem.
that creates interest where maybe there was none, and awareness and stuff like that. Social media, of course, is like, that's where I get anything done these days.
I don't know if I have the same reach. That's my
True,
concern.
without
Yes.
the same reach, still usable. Here, this is a little inside baseball. We do a lot of live shows. And yes, granted, I've got a long tail, and people are like, hey, it's that fucking guy. But in order to put asses in seats in all of those live shows, sometimes we take out Facebook ads, and they fucking work like crazy. You're able to target and hit like areas that you're going to and stuff, or where it's coming out. Rolling it out, perhaps, popping by. I mean, this sounds fucking stupid and quaint, but I love the movie Coal Miner's Daughter, and they fucking distributed her first record just driving around and going to radio stations and shit. So if I was four-walling a book, I'd go to every fucking comic book store and just be like, here, man, stack them and rack them. Here's 10 copies of this book. It's on me.
My
go nuts.
plan is to hit every comic store that I can possibly hit in California, Nevada, Utah,
I mean,
anywhere
at the
nearby.
end of the day, it's like you got to schlep it to them. Like there was a time in my career where somebody would pay money to help me schlep it to people, like when I was making movies with Miramax and Disney and stuff. But, you know, early on, God, 10, 12, 15 years ago, like I realized that like if you really love it, you'll fucking stick with it forever. That's why I like making movies and going on tour with them. Because when you make a movie and just put it out there, like yes, it's wonderful and it has its own results, but living with that thing every day, like you know how much you put into that. You know what you did to get it here and stuff like that.
Right.
If you're also willing to see it on its next stage of life, which is the most important, creatives never think about the next step. Like getting it done is a monumental effort, but in this current climate, you got to know how to sell your shit as well.
Right.
You got to be the person like Stan Lee always did it. Honestly, the example has always been in our midst. Stan Lee was not content to just be the guy that wrote Marvel Comics, nor was he content to be the guy that, was the editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics and stuff. He would go out and tub thump. He would go out and talk to anybody that wanted to talk about comics, put them on TV, put them in a college and shit like that. He believed in the work. So I've always felt the same way about my shit. I'm like, I'll go out there in the world and I'll go to people and shit because I love the work. When I toured Red State, I was at every public screening of the movie that we ever had in the United States. I got to watch, thank you. I got to watch everybody's reactions. There was no screening of that movie that I wasn't at and stuff. Now, you shouldn't ever aim for that in the movie business. You should always want to hit as many fucking people as possible. But for me, I was like, I don't know. This movie works this way. We toured it and stuff. So I advocate for by any means necessary, but I do advocate strongly for pop in. I remember we had the stash 2 years into Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. Don't remember who it was, but a guy came in to the store and he goes, hey, and he walks to the back rack and he comes back up with 10 copies of a book and he's like, I wrote this, and he just started signing it. And I was like, oh, thank you. We didn't have an internet to check. I couldn't be like, let's see if he's the guy. But he signed all the copies and stuff. And he's like, anytime I'm in a store that has my book, I sign it. And I'm like, that's kind of fucking classic.
So is that an invite when I fly to Jersey, just show up?
Absolutely.
Right, thank you.
You want to look for Mike Zapsik. He's the nice one.
I follow your show, so yes.
Walter's got a thing about fucking
right,
free comic book day. He's like, free? That's against the fucking business and shit like that. But that's what I would suggest. You.
All right.
As a dude who used to be in the press and
Yes.
who covered comics for a long time, so much of the reason why I would open one book over another book was because I had some sense of a personal connection to the book from the artist,
Okay.
from the writer, from the whatever. Tell me that.
Can I give you my pitch?
Well, I don't have a place to put it, but what I'm saying is that narrative is what will ultimately change the decision of an editor to either open the email or open the book or not. And it's a thing that I've kind of learned. I've been out pitching a TV show for the last couple of weeks, and so much about how that works and so much about why that works is because they understand, and I make it abundantly clear why I'm the only person in the world who could tell this story, why I'm the guy, why it means so much to me. And being able to convey that helps other people understand why they should open this book and take a look. Because if you can sell them on why it's personal to you and why it's the thing you've been burning to do and why it means everything to you, that you are sending emails personally, that you've gotten the phone number of every retailer in the country, and I'm making the cold call, and I'm emailing every person I can figure out their address to, I love this and I believe in this so much that not everybody's going to respond, but more people will, I think, than just hey, I put out a book, please read it. I'd love to talk to you. And take advantage of the proliferation of podcasts out there in the world. And be like, you know what?
You're on one right now.
Yeah, I'm on one right now.
What is it called? Say it again. This is a marketing tool right now.
It's Fat Man on Batman.
No. It's your fucking book. God damn it. Didn't you learn anything? The book is called?
Sorry?
The book is your book.
It's called Identity Stunt.
Where can they get it, the folks
They can
listening
get
at
it
home?
on Comixology right now or via Comixology and Marcosha Publishing is
Fantastic.
the publisher putting out the book.
That gave us a great fucking shit to talk about. You win tickets, man.
Thank you.
Do it. Find me a lady. We have a lady person. Yay!
Thank you.
Good to meet you, man.
That means the world. Be creative, folks. Make something. Hey, how are you?
Hi. Hello.
That is an
Thanks
awesome
for
fucking
liking
necklace.
my lamp, by the way.
That
Can
is
you
an
sign
awesome
it as
necklace.
well?
What is the necklace?
Oh, the lamp. Thank you for liking it.
Oh, that was yours. No, but Mark said that is an awesome
your
necklace.
is awesome.
Oh, yes. It's from TKL. Sorry, TKL.
It's a tiki owl.
It's a tiki
Very cool.
Yes.
creature from the Black Lagoon.
Kick-ass.
Oh, it's a
Like
tiki
my
of the
shirt.
creature from the Black Lagoon.
Batman
What's on the
and
shirt?
Robin kissing.
It's Batman and Robin making out. Oh my
They
God,
are.
that's so hot.
I must apologize. I came the show before your heart attack here. I left half hour early because Tim Curry was going to be at a Tim Curry art show, and I felt bad, and I sneaked out. But
Oh my God, you
I
are
paid for
more. You
tickets to
have
come
my
back
permission to
today.
leave me if Tim Curry is anywhere near us.
It was wonderful. My question to both of you, because you're both Papa Bears.
Fire away. Slide over though. There you
There
go.
we go.
Bang.
Boom.
You were talking about Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
Yes.
That was mine and my dad's favorite movie. I'm just I'm gonna cry a little bit
It's
because
a
he
wonderful
passed
movie.
away. But
It's all
like
right.
we would Birdie to each other. What is your guys' favorite movie with your children?
What a great question. I'm sorry about your dad.
It's
Oh, don't we all wish our dads could live forever? Fuck.
Sometimes.
What was the movie with? I'll tell you the movie I had with my dad, which we didn't like rewatch because, mind you, when I was growing up, there weren't even VCRs, so you didn't have like I want to watch this on demand and shit. But the movie that meant the most to me that he brought me to see, because he would always take me to the flicks, was The World According to Garp, because he took me when I was 13.
I love that one too.
Love that movie,
That's
and
mine,
that's
mine
not
and my mom's movie.
really. That is not a movie for 13-year-olds.
No, it's not.
And
but it's good.
he like trusted me. It was one of those like sometimes you see in movies and TV a father shares a beer with their kid and stuff. That was never going to happen. We weren't real drinkers, but he took me to see a movie that he was like, you can handle this, but don't tell your mother. So we had World According to Garp. Me and my kid, trying to think of all the shit that we watched together, what was the thing we watched the most? It wasn't, we watched, of course, every fucking Disney movie and every Pixar and stuff, but the one that we watched repeatedly, other than when she was a kid, Elmo Palooza, God bless you, which has Jon Stewart in it,
Yay.
was Rodney the Reindeer? It was a BBC cartoon.
British one.
They made two of them, and Robbie the Reindeer. They did a version in the States where Ben Stiller voiced it, and I think Drew Barrymore did the girl reindeer. But in England, it was all British cast. It looks like a claymation kind of affair, but it's the story about like a reindeer. His dad was Rudolph. So he's a legacy, but he fucking sucks at the job, and he doesn't take it very seriously. And then he has to train with an old fucking mystical reindeer and shit who's got like one eye, and learn to be better. And the movie has jokes like, or this special, it's only half hour, has jokes like they're playing that song "Crazy." Oh, we're never gonna survive. The Seal song, and Santa Claus comes up to the mic to stop the party, and he throws a fish at a seal who was singing the song, and then he goes, "Thank you, seal," and then he goes on and shit. I watched that with the kid so much that we knew every line. So I would say Robbie the Reindeer is the one for me. You?
My kids are 18 months apart. The girl is older, the boy is younger, because that's, I only have two. And I've talked before on the podcast about the fact that my daughter's autistic. And for her favorite movie of all time, the only movie that to date, she's now 15 years old, that she will watch from beginning to end and not get up, not lose attention, is Finding Nemo. So I've seen Finding Nemo 832 times. So when, and this was when she was like 5 or so, 5 and a half. We had taken the kids, there was an autistic-friendly screening in Jersey. It was on fucking Mattawan Avenue, I think.
What is the idea behind an autistic-friendly screen?
The idea is that all of the people who show up know the population that they're going to deal with. The lights are brighter because sometimes the dark scares the kids.
Right.
The sound is lesser, so you're not startling, so you're not getting kids who have sort of, sensory issues aren't getting triggered by it.
That's thoughtful. Do they do that a lot?
AMC does it on a fairly regular basis. They usually do it like the second Saturday after a movie comes out. The first show in the morning on a Saturday is always like autistic friendly.
That's cool.
And so we were going to see, I'm like, well, she loves Finding Nemo. Let's drill down into the Pixar library. Like, we'll just go see all the Pixar movies. And so they were showing Cars. And so, my wife and I and the two kids, my son 3.5, my daughter like 5, sit down to watch Cars. And she could not have given a shit about Cars.
But none of us did. So
none of us did.
Cars
None of us
Land
did,
is fun.
except for my son, because that was the first time he'd ever been to the movies. And like looking over and just watching his face, like the beginning of that movie is just, it's all dark and it's, you know, speed, lightning, vroom, and just his eyes were just.
I gotta tell you, you did a better job of selling that movie right then and there. I was like, I want to watch that shit. Is that how it starts?
It's super fucking, you know, it's dramatic in a way. But he, never having been in a theater before, never being surrounded by the sound and the fury and the vision, his eyes were wide, the smile just beamed on his face. He was just, oh, this is awesome. And consequently, we watched fucking Cars way more than I'd want to. I can tell you how it's basically Doc Hollywood that they remade.
Is it?
It's Doc Hollywood.
The Michael
J.
J. Fox movie?
Julie Warner movie. It is that movie. It is the big city guy comes to a small town, his car breaks down, and he falls in love with a girl who's in a small town, and the shurf doesn't like him because he thinks he's a city slicker.
Oh my God!
It is the same fucking movie, but with cars. But that was, because for the longest time, like when my daughter was born up until like my son was born, but I had been building this library of movies that I wanted to pass down to my kids. Like I had, you know, Criterion stuff unopened, all the Disney shit. Like I was the video editor at Entertainment Weekly for a while. And so I got everything. They just sent it to me. And so I had bookcases and bookcases that were going to be the arc, basically. Like here's me in a wall full of movies. And if you ever want to know who I am, just look at these movies. These are the ones I love that I want to pass on. And then when my daughter got diagnosed, it was clear that those movies were not going to be for her. And then when I took my son to see Cars, it was, oh, I get it now. They're for him. So that one.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful fucking question. You get tickets. Give it up for her, ladies and gentlemen. We got one set of tickets left, and we got one question to ask her. How are you, sir? What's your name?
I'm fine, Kevin. My name is Ron.
Give it up for Ron, everybody. Ron. He wants you to get as close to your mouth as possible.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, there it is.
All right. One question I wanted to ask you, you know, for the last 10 years, Marvel's been like the hottest thing, you know, comic book movies are kind of taking over Hollywood. Do you think there's any other type of either genre or intellectual property that, if done right, could compete with Marvel's success?
That is the billion-dollar question. That if we figured out how to answer.
I mean, yeah, if we knew the answer, Hollywood would be like.
I mean, just in your opinion, you know.
I mean, ultimately, you know, this is going to sound like a cop-out, and I'll try to pigeonhole or pinpoint something. But ultimately, anything in the right hands, you know, works. Marvel is in the right hands. I can tell you about a time when Marvel was never in the right hands, and the Punisher had a little skull on his knife, and that was it, and stuff like that. So it helps to have material be in the right hands. Marvel's killing it, obviously. It's in the right hands. Star Wars seems to be in the right hands right now. So I guess, you know, as long as it's in the right hands, anything's viable. Let me think. What is something I've always fucking... This is the dumb pitch, and it doesn't even come from my heart because I don't like fucking cars, but he just talked about cars. Hot Wheels was so fucking huge when I was a kid, and people like cars and those movies, Fast and Furious and shit. I don't know, maybe there's a, this sounds stupid as I say it out loud, but maybe there's a world where Hot Wheels is very successful as a film franchise. Probably not, but you know. If they were, their competing Matchbox movies would be like the DC movies to their Marvel and stuff. I don't know. Honestly, if I knew what people liked, I would have done it a long time ago. But people seem to like cars, and Hot Wheels has like fucking 50 years of little cars and shit. I just watched an episode, you know that show, The Toys That Made Us, on Netflix? Such a good fucking show. More episodes coming, but I saw a preview of an episode, the Transformers episode, which was insanely illuminating. I thought I knew the backstory, and it was even more interesting. That show is doing the Lord's work. The Kenner episode of that show, everybody should watch it, even if you don't like Star Wars and shit. It's mind-bending. And from a business angle, from a human interest story. That's mine, Hot Wheels, the dumbest pitch in the room. What about you?
I think I agree with you in that it's all about who is telling that story. You know, like if you look at the Marvel characters, you look at the DC characters, there are differences, but there's way more similarities than there are differences. And to date, it has been who gets to tell that story. And Marvel has found the person who understands those characters better than anybody else has, who understands how that kind of serialized storytelling works. And nobody else does.
I don't pray anymore, but God and Jesus protect Kevin Feige. At least until he finishes his great work. I want to get to phase 26 and find out like he died peacefully in his sleep at age 103.
But yeah, I think it's about the person who's doing it. Like I feel like you could have made a fucking Lone Ranger universe if you wanted to. If somebody with the mind at work could have gotten that to happen. And said, here's the resources I need. Here's a story I'm going to tell.
Do you know what the Lone Ranger universe would include? They're separate properties, separate IP, but they were both created by George Trendle. So the Green Hornet was literally a descendant of the Lone Ranger. So you could have fucking tied those movies together and shit.
Totally. Like you could absolutely, there could be a Mortal Kombat universe if you wanted there to be a Mortal Kombat universe. There's ways.
They had one for a minute, right?
I mean, they had a couple of movies and a couple of shorts online, and they were not bad.
Right.
But if you wanted to blow it out, you absolutely could. If somebody has the vision to tie all that shit together and put on a spider web that none of us can resist.
You know what? There's a genre that I think, if done with the same attention that Marvel's doing, it could compete, because a lot of the elements that Marvel uses in these films comes from these movies, which are kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I think if people got and did kung fu movies and took great stories with great characters and the most kick-ass action scenes you ever seen, those movies could directly compete with Marvel film.
I mean, but I would make the argument that like they are here. The Matrix was one giant fucking kung fu movie that was re-envisioned the kung fu movie in a weird way. And John Wick is also kind of in its own way a kung fu movie. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I don't think that's a style of movie that will never go out of style because people like me will sit there and be like, I can't believe a human being did that. Like, that's possible? Like, I can barely fucking walk to the bathroom, and this guy just took out 6 people and shit. I agree with you, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right. The Matrix was that thing. I mean, people punching people in the face will always be something that we respond to.
It's true.
You know, like it's
as long as it's not you, you know, you're like, oh, that rocked.
Please, not me. But yeah, I mean, and there are some genres that will always come back in and out of fashion. You know, there will always be some impetus for a Western, because there's always some movie star who wants to put on a fucking 6-gun and shoot people.
It's my least favorite genre in the world. There are Westerns that I've loved, like Unforgiven or Silverado. And what was the one the Coen brothers did? The remake?
Oh, True Grit.
True Grit, so fucking good. But as a genre, like that never held, that was not in my wheelhouse. And at the end of the day, they're as close to comic book movies as possible, but the closest to when I was a kid, the only Western that I was into was Lone Ranger, because I'm like, he wears a fucking mask like Batman. You know? And my father was like, everyone doesn't have to be Batman. But he died and missed a world where everybody is Batman now.
Yeah, like I
motherfucker's like, I hated your old man too. He missed it all.
Yeah, but like I think there's a way to freshen a Western to make it interesting. You know, 310 to Yuma, the most recent one, was a pretty good.
Oh, that was good. That was by what's his name?
Yeah.
The guy that did Logan.
Yeah,
and that was a Western kind
That's
of.
totally a Western.
Yeah.
You know, Hell or High Water is a Western.
Yeah.
Like there's ways to make that work. There's ways to make, you know, fucking Sherlock Holmes work if you want to, and build out the fucking extended Victorian universe that they kind of nodded at with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but for real. You know, like take another swing at that, which the IP is phenomenal. And it's all free.
You mentioned Sherlock Holmes. I read an interview with Robert Downey Jr. in Entertainment Weekly. This week's Entertainment Weekly has a zillion Avengers covers, including a new look at the bleeding edge armor that Iron Man wears to go to fucking space and shit. But Robert Downey Jr. was talking about like, hey, coming up, I'm going to do this, and we're going to get back into Sherlock Holmes and stuff. He's got a lot of fucking plans, which really communicates to me that like, he's coming up on some free fucking time.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely an Avenger that's going down, man.
Like I would watch
it's gonna be sad.
A Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers collected like old school fucking chapter movie Yeah, like give me the serial heroes of old in one fucking movie. Like I would take the Shadow plus Flash Gordon plus all of that shit.
That'd be good. Phantom, yes.
For Ghost Who Walks.
For those who came in late, the idea of now he spurred me. All right, if I can take another bite at the apple, it's not IP that certainly needs help, but those Disney studios were built on Mickey Mouse, and he does have a cartoon and shit, but generally all those wonderful characters are to the sidelines because Pixar characters kind of rule the roost and stuff. So I think if you fucking collected all the Disney characters in some way and did like an Avengers with Disney characters,
all right.
Like remember the wonder and the joy of Roger Rabbit, where you're like, oh fuck, they're all together and fucking Mickey knows bugs, like this is amazing and shit. Do that with all the Disney IP alone. Mix it up, make a big fucking salad where they get to all cross over and play with each other and shit. I would get that. I mean, would that compete with Marvel? I don't know, but I would pay to see it. And I bet you a lot of people who fucking love Disney would kind of be into seeing something Disney like that. That's a great question, man. You win some fucking tickets. Well done. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure. We are out of tickets, which means we are out of time for the show. We've done it. Another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Have you had a good time this evening? Lovely to be here at all, but as I said last week, I love doing this show. Really look forward to it and stuff like that. And part of the reason is I always learn something. I learn some shit from the audience, and I definitely always learn something from one of the greatest writers I've ever met. Give it up for my co-host, Marc Bernardin, ladies and gentlemen. And that is Fat Man on Batman for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
I am Marc Bernardin.
Tune in next time. Same fat time, same fat channels, modcast.com or
youtube.com/Kevin Smith.
Good night, everybody.